Take a moment right here, feeling like it's out gear. Driving towards the sun with a rose and a gun. Feel the wind in my hair, going nowhere I swear. Like an outlaw on the run, dangerous but it's so fun. Running, running, no. Hold on, don't let go. Running, running, no. Keep running.
Welcome into week 5 of the Open and Unstoppable round robin stage. We've got ourselves a great matchup. I'm alongside Slayer. Slayer, how are you doing today?
I'm just excited for another night of League of Legends content here, Bonfire. We got an interesting matchup ahead of us here. We've got Honda Civic Crew. They are the undefeated team. They're at the top of this second bracket of the group of round robin. Just to remind everybody, these are 2 sets. It's 20 teams total. We've got 2 sets of 10, and they're all going to play single round robin. So they're going to play 9 games. We're past the halfway point. You've got Honda Civic Crew, top of the table, 4-0. They haven't lost a game. And you've got Cilantro Crab sitting 2-2. They're looking to turn on the Jets and kick off the second half so they can make playoffs. So Bonfire will certainly be a very fun game to watch.
Yeah, and you touched on it. Honda Civic Crew, obviously 4-0. They're tied with 12 Car Garage for 4-0, so they need this win just as much as Cilantro Cabs to put themselves in that number 1 spot, give themselves better seeding, hopefully, assuming they do make the playoffs. Looking towards Cilantro Cabs, only 1 game ahead of Absolute Animals, the Friendly Penguins, and Any Great Ideas. They need this win badly. Should be a really great matchup between 2 really good teams.
Yeah, it's certainly tight. 9 games is, it's not the most amount of games. Usually sometimes you see double round robins where you play both teams twice. It can create more gaps, but single round robins can make it close and tight. And through 4 games, it's tight. Exactly like you mentioned, you've got 2 teams undefeated. They've got 1 person on their heels with thick and anime thighs, 3-1. And then you've got, like you mentioned, all those teams at the bottom. There's really not a team out of this group of 6 you mentioned. You got the Friendly Penguins, Any Great Ideas, Absolute Animals. They're all chasing that coveted postseason spot. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, this postseason push should be really interesting. I gotta quiz you. Going into this pick and ban stage, which champion do you think is going to get the most priority, either banned the most or picked first?
Well, as we get right into bans, I would certainly say Viego, because personally, Viego is a great champion from his kit wise. I mean, his resets can certainly change fights completely, but then you have the fact that you can flex him at this level into different lanes. It can confuse the other team in a draft, and we all know how much draft diff can win games purely as long as you don't throw the game.
Yep, you're seeing an early Graves and an early Nocturne ban. Both teams looking to shorten the jungle pool. The Shen being hovered right now should be an interesting decision. I'm curious how both of these junglers are going to adapt to their pools getting shortened down. Obviously, Mystic Wave and Coach Graves are going to have to figure out kind of how they're going to choose their jungler. Coach Graves, judging by the name, gonna assume he's pretty comfortable on Graves. So obviously that's going to be a quick ban.
Yeah, and we see another jungle ban. I know Lilia top has gotten some priority. It's become sort of a popular thing, especially around this elo. I certainly have played against it a couple of times and absolutely hate it, but I'm assuming this Lilia ban is from a jungle standpoint. Jungle, obviously, is probably the most sort of role that can sway a game the most, in my opinion. It's the most... You can do a lot of things with it, so seeing a lot of jungle bans early, and then you get the Irelia ban. Obviously, Irelia, you can also flex her mid or top, but obviously she is a hyper carry with her kit if you can play her correctly. So these are certainly some interesting bans. I'm curious if we're going to get another top or jungle ban, Bonfire. I don't know. What are you thinking with this last ban? Soraka.
Soraka,
Okay.
with her new changes, certainly been high priority. Late game, she can heal everyone up. She's incredibly volatile late game. Her early game is a little bit on the weaker side, but that being said, if you can get her into a strong position late game, she can certainly be incredibly difficult to deal with. Obviously, HCC, doesn't want to have to deal with it. As CC picks the Caitlyn early on, they're hovering it right now. There's the Caitlyn pick.
There we go.
And now Caitlyn, who do you want to see as a support teamed up with this Caitlyn in lane?
All right, well, Caitlyn is your definition lane bully, early 80 carry. Her strengths are going to be in the early game due to her range, and then she falls off in the mid game as she tries to scale her damage back up into the late game. Then she has the late game power skip. I would like to see a champion that can poke well with her and also protect her. I would say something along the lines of a Thresh would look pretty good, in my opinion. They could certainly flay people off of her, and easy setups to put traps and get a couple headshots off. We do see, though, on the flip side, you've got Leona and Udyr. Bonfire, what do you think about that pick? I like the Leona. I always love those engaged supports personally.
Yeah, Honda Civic crew investing very early and a lot of CC. Udyr obviously able to just run straight at you and stun you. Pair that with the Leona ult and the Leona E and Q. It's just an incredibly dangerous situation for Caitlyn, who can be kind of immobile in the early to mid games until she gets some help. So I'm curious how that's going to lead to drafting differences. Orianna giving some AP. Obviously, the assumption is that Orianna is going to go to the mid lane. I've seen some Orianna support, but isn't really gaining a lot of traction. So assuming this is Orianna in the mid lane, if you're HCC, how do you go against this with another mid lane pick?
Well, personally, if I'm HCC, I'm questioning this because I don't necessarily like the idea of picking a mid laner this early. I mean, it certainly allows a lot of counterplay. I'm interested to see if HCC, with this next pick they have here, will go with a counter here. Control mages obviously have been up and down all season. I would say they're at a certain higher point. Orianna obviously has that CC and she can turn fights if played correctly. I do want to talk about that Warwick pick as a response to the Udyr. Both of those guys very good at clearing their camps, both AD heavy. Warwick, obviously, we know his kit can be very annoying, and it'll be interesting to see how he plays it out. But Nunu is an interesting pick as well. And as we're going into bans, Bonfire, what do you feel about Nunu and some of these bans?
Well, I think easily the biggest question is Nunu along with Udyr, because Nunu by himself, certainly a very strong jungler. You should never get outsmited as Nunu, so you start to think maybe they're going to go objective control as we see the Trundle ban along with the Morgana and Samira. But if you pair him with Udyr, the question goes, where is this Nunu going and where is this Udyr going? Certainly a question mark there. Nunu obviously was on the stronger side a couple of patches ago in the mid lane. I'd be curious to see if Nunu would go mid lane, or it might be an Udyr top.
It could be. I want to quickly bring up, though, I love this Samira ban from CC because Samira can get on top of a Caitlyn and completely disrupt everything she tries to do, deflecting the nets she throws off, deflecting headshots. Samira is a very smart ban with 80 carries still up, so I love that ban for them, as they also go with the set ban to target top, and HCC responds with the Aatrox. How do you feel about Aatrox up top there, Bonfire?
Well, my first thought is, where's the damage from HCC? Obviously, they've got a lot of displacement. Adding the Aatrox, they've got tons of CC. They're very strong in that sense. But the worry is, this seems like a perfect Anathema's chains game immediately. Assuming this Aatrox doesn't get Giga-fed early, it's gonna be difficult, as Malzahar is gonna be picked up as well. So this is the question for HCC, is whoever they put forth as their main damage component, I assume in the ADC role, it's gonna get bullied throughout the entire game. You can expect Malzahar and Warwick looking to displace it, and I just don't see a lot of damage on the side of HCC.
Wow, okay. As that happens, CC locks in Kayle and simply confuses me on what's going on with this comp personally. I don't know what's going on. I think it actually is Orianna's support. That's my best guess. Or could you see it? I guess it could be Malzahar. I think the only champions we know which roles they're going with Bonfire here for CC. I think it's definitely going to be Kayle top. And I think it's going to be Warwick jungle. Outside of that, I don't know what's going on right now.
Yeah, I think Tristana is going to have a very difficult game. Like I highlighted, she has to play incredibly carefully with the amount of CC and displacement that that Cilantro Crabs, has on their team. So Cilantro Crabs, so far, looking to make Yomi's life very difficult, or not Yomi's life, looking to make King T-Hole's life very difficult to start the game. Should be for Honda Civic crew, their task ahead is to make Yomi's life very difficult. Should be a very interesting one.
Yeah, it's going to be super interesting. Obviously, CC has a lot of late game scaling potential on their side as well. Kayle and Caitlyn are two of the best scaling champions in the game right now. Kayle obviously is known, starting off in the melee form, and once you hit level 16, it's kind of over. You always like to joke about the 0-10 Yasuo power spike, but listen, when Kayle hits level 16, it doesn't really matter her score either, Bonfire.
Yeah, and I gotta say, you talked about Kale, you talked about Caitlyn, Oriana and Malzahar, no chumps to scaling as well. Now, Oriana, assuming it is in the support role, is going to mean that it's going to be a little stunted in the scaling department, but it's still really good for the shielding, for the speed up, excuse me, the slowing of the enemies. That has a lot of utility in her kit, so that should add a lot in the support element. I'm really curious. Enlighten me, Slayer. How you think Honda Civic Crew wins this game? What their strategy has to be?
It's really interesting to me, but to win this game, they have to get rolling early and rely heavily on the roaming ability of this Nunu and the Leona. I want to see how they roam around the map. Udyr roam around the map. They have to get Tristana going. If you get Aatrox going early, you can also do some big things. But listen, if this game goes on too long, it's basically GG for Honda Civic
Yep,
out
and
here.
I just
That's all
saw
I'm thinking.
I just saw it is a Nunu mid. So Nunu mid should add an interesting element to this game. Obviously going against the Malzahar, which is also mid. I'm not sure how either of those play this lane because I've never seen it before. Not exactly your run-of-the-mill mid lane matchup. Just quickly.
Certainly not meta. We are certainly not going towards meta.
I
with this
don't
game.
think we're in the meta right now.
We are very far from it.
I appreciate it though. I like these picks, making things very interesting. Just I guess initial thoughts: Nunu and Willemp versus Malzahar. Who do you think wins that lane early on? How do you think the one who loses the lane can salvage themselves?
Listen, I think with this pick, Nunu is basically sacrificing lane in a way. You're sacrificing lane to roam heavily throughout the river. We know how annoying Nunu can be getting through that river with his snowball. I think you're just going to sacrifice lane. You're going to sacrifice CS. You're going to sacrifice yourself to get these other two bottom and top lanes rolling. Malzahar should have a pretty simple lane getting to farm up easily. We know how easily Malzahar can clear. So it's basically, I think Nunu is going to be sacrificing lane here, Bonfire.
Yeah, even if assuming Nunu does sacrifice lane, you talked about it, Malzahar also has an incredibly fast lane domination. He can just push waves incredibly quickly. I'm expecting Malzahar to get 20, 30 CS at 15 minutes ahead and utilize that to take down some tower plating and possibly even roam off of that advantage. I think this Nunu is going to have a very difficult time, and I can see the Leona, from my friend told me to, getting dragged to the mid lane just to help push waves along with Coach Brave's Udyr.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. What a way to kick off the first game. I mean, I'm certainly flabbergasted with these comps, and it's actually making me excited to watch how they play out when it comes to the game, Bonfire. I'm excited. I'm sure you're excited as well.
Yeah, I'm incredibly excited. I think that going into this game, obviously both of these teams must have seen something that they really liked in scrims with these drafts. So I'm curious how that's going to translate into the game setting. With that being said, obviously it doesn't always translate. So I'm curious which of these kind of interesting out of the blue drafts is going to work. And remember, this is a best of 3. Will we see these picks throughout the series, or is this just limit testing a little bit before we see go back to some more normal quote unquote picks?
Well, I don't want to go out on a limb because I haven't seen it in action yet, but I'm assuming Honda Civic's doing some limit testing with this comp. But we'll see how it goes. They might just come out and dominate the early game. Like I said, they dominate the early game. They might just steamroll this game, and then that might send CC spiraling to get back into a second game. But I have to wait and see it. If it flops like I think it might, we might see a completely different comp from HGC going into the second game. But for this first game, I'm laying out the law right now. It's going to be all about the early game for Honda Civic and Cilantro Crabs. If you can make it to 30 minutes, you can get that Kale to 16, you can get that Caitlyn full build. It's going to be really hard to lose this game without just throwing yourselves into death.
Quickly, Slayer, while we have just 15 seconds, what do you think HGC has to do to win this game?
They got to get one of Aatrox or Tristana rolling early to win this game, Bonfire.
Wonderful. Well, we're going to take this to a quick break. Join us. Do not go anywhere. We've got Game 1 on the Rift coming up. Welcome back to Game 1 of Cilantro Crabs versus Honda Civic Crew. Should be a fantastic matchup. Obviously, if you're just joining us, we've got ourselves a Nunu mid. We've got ourselves an Orianna support. You don't want to miss this. This looks like a solo queue game. Very curious how this will turn out in a competitive sense. And we're starting off early as the Nunu utilizing the snowball to chase down Yomi. Yomi able to get out. Able... That would have been disaster.
Listen, I told you they'd go after things early, and there you go. They're starting out before minions even show up on fire. Interesting to see. I do want to point out, though, Yomi on Caitlyn opted for the cleanse, which I thought was a smart move. They've got a lot of CC, especially with that early Leona lane. You can CC basically everything she throws at you. It'll be interesting, though. Can't CC everything Nunu throws at you. Obviously can't CC that giant snowball coming at you. So it'll be interesting to watch here from that standpoint.
Yeah, you touched on it, being able to utilize the cleanse. Just quickly, there's an early ward in the bush near the blue side, a red buff. So I'm curious if that will lead to anything. If Honda Civic Crew wants to utilize that to push anything. If not, it will just be a normal clear, a red side clear from Cilantro Crabs and a blue side clear from Honda Civic Crew. Both of them getting help from their bot lane.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to look out. Obviously, both starting on the bottom sides of their map. I'm really interested to watch this mid matchup, though, as we see Nunu shove out the lane early, and he is already out heading into the river looking to grab some intel, just like I thought he would do. That's an interesting way to start out the lane, and exactly what we thought would happen, Bonfire.
Yep, you have to be careful as Kale this early because of how volatile the Nunu ganking can be. Milk Bubble Tea able to get out pretty easily. He's got himself the spell shield as Malzahar, makes things a little bit easier going against the Nunu as you're afforded basically one mistake. As we look into the bot lane, both teams just looking to push it out in T-hole. And the Leona feeling very strong, gets the root on top of the Caitlyn, jumps in.
There it is.
He's going to be
Level
instantly
2.
exhausted. There's the cleanse, or there's the ignite, and it's just going to be pretty even trade. Yomi taking quite a bit of damage, but as does my friend told me to. And we're back to the mid lane.
Bonfire, that's the strength of a Tristana Leona. You get level 2. You land that chain, you can go in and get some serious damage down. As we see, hits another one on Orianna, forces the flash. See, exactly.
Might be moving out, able to flash away. Pretty even trading so far, but you talked about it. Look at the summoner spells, where Serial already losing both of them as Yomi lands some headshots. Yomi had to give away his flash as well. By Serial, as Orianna, very critically went with the Relic Shield. Not something I was expecting. I was expecting to see something more based on hitting people with abilities. As we look topside, Mystic Wave going in on Awesome Alex. Doesn't know Coach Graves is there, and that is going to be the support that he needs. There's the flash stun. Murderfox has to be in a bit of danger. Is he going to fall? He does. Coach Graves dies. Mystic Wave looking to trade it off. Getting knocked up. Not able to trade it away as Awesome Alex with the displacement. And loses quite a bit of health on that as well. Milk Bubble Tea. Trading again with scripting Xerath. Yeah,
I mean, that's textbook counter gank. I love the aggressiveness to get the flash out there. You get first blood going, and that's exactly what you need to see from Honda Civic Bonfire. You got to jump on one of these late game carries for Cilantro Crabs, and they pick the Kale. Gonna lose a lot of CS here with the wave crashing. Obviously, Mystic Wave picks it up, but you set the Kale back, you got the Aatrox going. It's exactly the recipe for a win with such an interesting comp.
Yep, 9 CS at 4 minutes. Definitely not where you want to be as Kale getting that far behind. Yomi able to dodge that. And it's just kind of a fantastic start for Honda Civic Crew. So far, this Nunu hasn't struggled too much against the wave clear of Milk Bubble Tea. Milk Bubble Tea will scale up pretty well. Actually has a level advantage on Milk Bubble Tea. But
yeah, that is interesting. That surprised me. I did not think that scripting would be able to keep such a commanding CS lead up a wave. I think he's utilizing these snowballs to not only hit Milk. Oh, wow.
In trouble, has to flash away. The ignite might be enough to take him down, and it is. The flash from scripting, or excuse me, not the flash from this flash from Milk Bubble Tea wasn't enough to save him. And this Nunu has found himself in a fantastic position this early against a Malzahar.
The snowballs of death, Bonfire. I mean, this guy just keeps going out of river to speed up and get a huge snowball, bring it back into lane. That spell shield for Malice of our Heart can help him out with a lot of things, but as we know, it can't help you out with knockups. So knocks him up. The AP scaling on that snowball hits him hard, ignites through. This is masterful. This is impressive from scripting. He has absolutely astounded me. I was very skeptical at first, but here he is with a CS advantage and an early kill.
Yep. And they're gonna find themselves with the first dragon as well, utilizing that early 1,500 gold lead to get themselves first dragon. You want to talk about the CS difference up top? Actually, we do not have time. Bolt Milk Bubble Tea looking to catch out Awesome Alex. They don't know scripting is behind though, might spell trouble. There's the double knockup. Awesome Alex finding the knockup as well. There's going to be the ultimate. That's a quick double kill.
My God.
Scripting finds the absolute dream engage with the W.
My God, scripting. That's with no items, by the way. This is still Dornan's Ring Health Pot Nunu. He's sitting on a massive bounty. Once he gets the back off, I'm gonna be interested to see what he builds, but I gotta assume it's gonna be some serious damage. 3-0. Listen, Honda Civic, they're making their own plays, but what I'm really impressed by is their reactions. That usually tells you that's the makings of a great team, no matter what level of league you're watching. It's how you react to the other team, and scripting and both Coach Graves have been masterful in that sense so far.
Yeah, they've utilized their early game pressure. You talked about in the drafting of having an Udyr along with a Nunu and Willem, and they've utilized it to perfection. Yomi finding himself with only a 2 CS advantage in the bot lane. Not going to be enough. They're finding himself just walking back in the lane, taking a bit of damage, but that's that Q healing. Whew. Just heals him back up to health as Graves might be looking for a lane gank, but he doesn't know he's sitting on top of a ward.
Unfortunate that he ran to the deep ward there. That deep ward may come in handy if Cilantro wants to make some plays. Kale does have teleport up if they wanted to get something going. Obviously, though, Kale is very weak in the early game, as we see. Bottom lane here for Honda Civic gets a plate, more gold in the pockets. They're just rolling, Bonfire.
Milk Bubble Tea finds himself early down 0-2 to a 3-0 Xerath, scripting. Curious what that's going to mean, because Malzahar late game, if he doesn't get the kills he needs, will sort of turn into an R-bot, or an ultimate bot, which is certainly not what you want to see. That's a lot of your AP damage alongside that Kale. So they're certainly looking for both of them to get ahead. Right now, 0-2 for both of them. That's going to be very problematic as Mysterio gets stunned up. Might be in a bit of trouble. King T-Hole doing a lot of damage. He's been exhausted, has to jump away. Coach Graves coming in along with scripting. Yomi might be in a lot of trouble. This might be a disaster.
Here comes the dive.
Why Stereo just gets popped. There goes Yomi. Xerath, will he go down as well? Gets close to going down. They can't kill Yomi. Yomi just able to get out of there. And it's nothing. They get nothing for it. And they lose one as well. Milk Bubble Tea looking for a re-engage. Yomi trying to find a trap. And they're just going to disengage. And that was a disaster from the side of Honda Civic.
I mean, scripting absolutely popped, but he also tried to pop the ultimate on the backside to save himself. He did end up saving himself, but yeah, wow. What a play from Yomi to avoid death there and get the kill. Listen, it's all about reaction. Cilantro, that's a great reaction to get some gold back in their pocket. Still down a little bit over 5K right now, though, Bonfire. They've got a lot of ground to make up, but that was a great start.
It actually looks to be more like 3K at the moment, but I can certainly see it going in the way of 5,000 gold difference.
Yeah, good point to point out there. It's just interesting to see the early game aggression doesn't always pay off, and that's certainly an example there with a little bit too much eagerness. It's interesting. We'll see how much they decide to keep going heavy on the early game as we see a fight in the bottom lane.
Yomi getting jumped on. There's the flash from King T-Hole. T-Hole able to knock him down. Is there more to be found? Mysterio trying to run under his tower, and he's able to save himself. But that's what we were talking about with Yomi. He doesn't have a lot of disengage, and if T-Hole and my friend told me to just keep you pinned down, it's just certain death. Wasn't able to escape. Didn't burn any. Also didn't have any summoners. So as the re-engage, Mysterio has to be careful. It's slowed. There's the E, the Q, the stun. There's nothing Mysterio can do. The displacement finds the flash, and he's able to save himself utilizing the flash.
That was a very smart play to save himself, but this is just how much of a lane bully these two can be. Leona Tristana is very, very deadly as we see some more moves in the mid lane. Nothing from scripting. He's still looking, though.
Yep. Mystic Way able to help Milk Bubble Tea push his wave in. Scripting obviously doesn't have great wave clear when he's just standing still. A lot of it comes with his snowball as Yomi tries to hold the wave by himself. Has to be careful. 1E from my friend told me to. There's a plate for, like you talked about, King T-Hole. And this Tristana is getting very big, although notably, should mention, Yomi is ahead in CS. Scripting has to be careful. There's the ultimate from Milk Bubble Tea. Is it going to be enough damage? There's the suppression. There's the silence. Mystic Way looking for it. There's the shutdown. Goes towards the way of the Warwick. That's really big for the Cilantro Crabs. Has to be careful though. Mystic Wave is walking into a bit of a trap. Going to be not rooted down, and that is just an instant kill. King T-Hole secures the trading in kills.
Wow, what a lot of action. That was such a smart play. That's the sort of lockdown ability that we could see from CC. We talked a lot about this HCC comp and their early game ability, but CC has a lot of ways to lock down somebody when they need to. Double suppression gets the shutdown over on the Warwick, but HCC, like I've been saying all game long, perfect reactions, waiting in the brush for the Warwick, and then they grab that dragon, they're on to more.
Yomi might be copped out. He's looking to try to get away. That's a lot of damage from the Udyr. Misses the stun, but it's just more than enough just damage from the Udyr. Masiro has to be careful. There's 3 of them there. Just looking to land some autos. Knock down Coach Graves just a little bit. Graves takes some tower shots. This Udyr is starting to get incredibly tanky as he's 2-0. Mystic Wave might be looking to protect his support as they're just looking to take down the first tower of the game.
Yeah, here we go. Raking out the Rift Herald. There you go. More gold in the pocket of HCC as you get Shelly out to grab some extra gold. Certainly be interesting to see how you build the Udyr, because with this gold lead, you can obviously opt for some damage or the tankiness. I would assume on this kind of comp that he runs tanky, as we do have a bit more of a squishy Nunu from scripting for the damage. It'll be interesting to watch as the game continues on.
Yeah, like you talked about, this Nunu obviously went with the Rocket Belt, looking to get on top of Yomi, to get on top of Mudrovox late game, making sure that these late game carries can't do what they want to do. Milk Bubble Tea has helped his lane a little bit, only 4 CS down, but really the story of the game right now, in my eyes, is King T-Hole landing himself the entire gold and the first tower plating of the bottom tower. He's going to be incredibly large as the Tristana, which is what HCC needed to do in order to put themselves in a strong position. They needed the damage from the Tristana to be the late game carry.
100% as we see. Oh my god.
Xerath going on top of Yomi. So much damage in a burst, but can he secure it? Mysterio hopefully helping. There's the trap. Gets the flash off. There's the snipe. There's nothing Scripting can do, and that is going to be a kill. Milk Bubble Tea getting knocked up. There's the stun. Flashes the stun. He gets slowed though. Gets pushed down. Is it going to be a trade kill? No, my friend told me to. Able to walk away. It's a trade kill. But I'll tell you what, it is. Oh, actually, I was going to say there is a shutdown. Neither team got a shutdown. It is just a trade 1-for-1.
My gosh, I mean, this has been happening all game. HCC finds perfect reaction plays to anything CC gets done. You see them go. There's a perfect play from Yomi. Yomi's been stepping up big for the CC squad, being able to use the cleanse effectively to get away from the Nunu and pull off one of the most satisfying ults with Caitlyn to kill off Nunu as we have a fight in the jungle. As I'm trying to explain things,
Mystic Wave might have bitten off more than he can chew. There's the ultimate. Coach Graves thinks he still has the damage. Forces the flash from Mystic Way as Awesome Alex roams down. Just 2 beefy boys hitting each other over and over again. And I guess it's
force out the TP from Malzahar there. It's a key thing to note there. Had a TP in because he wanted to help out his teammate, so he did have to TP back in. But to get back to, oh my, the action doesn't end. Never mind.
Stop.
It does not stop. I thought Udyr might get caught out there. But like I said, you had the great plays from Yomi, Caitlyn in the bottom, and they have the perfect reaction. That chain CC into damage from Leona onto Milk Bubble Tea gets another kill off. It's all about these reactions so far, Bonfire.
Yep, you talked about it. I think importantly, Scripting able to push out the bot wave. We wanted to talk about early game. We talked about Nunu possibly struggling, taking a CF disadvantage. He's actually got himself an early CS advantage against the Malzahar, as Yomi has to be careful. Respect, my friend told me to.
Yep, and now we're moving towards more of the mid-game sort of antics. You have the bot lane of HCC moving towards mid after getting that turret, and you have the mid laner shift down, and we still have the top lane, which has turned into a lot of an island as we have,
Mystic Wave gets jumped on top of, greeting a little bit for the red buff. There's the suppression on top of the King T-Hole. T-Hole has to be careful. Mysterio hopefully coming in. There's the kill for the kill for Malzahar. Excuse me, my friend told me to. Might be in a bit of trouble. Trying to find the blast cone. There's the displacement. And an ultimate. Shockwave finds him. He's able to find the blast cone out still. The flash gets him. Yomi with the ultimate knocks him down. It's a 2-for-1. Coach Graves looking for something. Scripting, trying to find a big snowball. They have to be careful. Yomi might be caught out. It might be a trade. Yomi just going to get sacrificed. Gets killed. There's the boost up from Coach Graves, and he is an absolute menace. The double stun. Both of them going to get caught in the ult from Scripting. It failed the flash. That is a triple kill for Scripting. That is a 7-2 Nunu and Willow.
My gosh, how great has Coach Graves and Scripting Xerath been in this game so far? Perfect reactions. It's another instance. CC makes a beautiful play utilizing their...
Yeah, no, you talked about how good of a play it was. They're really coming together and forcing these fights out together. It is unbelievable. Together, they're able to combine for so many kills and combine for so much map pressure.
Yeah, they're all over the map, and they're making these perfect reaction kills. The kits on some of these CC players allow them to catch out players. These Caitlyn ults are absolutely diabolical. He's gotten a couple of executes from Yomi with the kit, but Coach Graves and Scripting have no fear. I love these flashes in from Coach Graves on the Udyr to lock down opponents as we have another dragon secured over to HCC. They're stacking. They're getting close to that soul bonfire.
Yeah, you want to talk about getting close to something as well. Look towards the top lane. Mudrovox is level 11 as the Kale quietly been farming up against the Aatrox. 0-2 to start the game. However, has stabilized quite well. I gotta ask you, how does Cilantro Crabs win this game? What is their win con?
They have to sit back and just let their carries scale. They have to try not to take any fights here and just protect some of these objectives. The problem is you have the soul stacking on the side of HCC. Infernal Soul obviously is a very powerful soul. Maybe not in this comp because there's no big poke from them, but they really just have to sit back and buy time for this Caitlyn, and especially that Kale that you talked about earlier.
Stickway has to be careful, doesn't get hit by the snowball, but that's just way too much damage to start the game. Yomi gonna get snowed up, able to cleanse it. There's Graves, might be in a bit of danger. Mudrovox doing a lot of damage, doing so much work. My friend told me to. Blocks the ultimate from Caitlyn. King T-Hole looking to do some damage. The health bars aren't there. Awesome Alex teleports in. Milk Bubble Tea looking to possibly suppress him. Does have the ultimate up. Doesn't use an ability. Health bars are still not there for HCC. And they're just going to have to be satisfied with the one. Not able to find a kill back from CC.
The Caitlyn finally sorry, not the Caitlyn, excuse me. The Kale finally comes in. We finally get our first look at Murdervox, and they performed well. He got them off the back.
In a bit of danger, isn't able to get away from that. It just gets popped by Scripting.
Nunu and his bushes absolutely popping people. But like I said, we finally get our first look at the Kale comes in. Sort of a questionable ult. Maybe I'm assuming it was to disengage HCC from the fight, but listen, that is a better reaction to some of the plays of HCC than we've seen recently. They're not wiped off the board. They get to pedal back off, and they get to keep stalling. Like I've been saying, as long as they keep stalling, this game will favor CC Cilantro Crabs more and more.
Yep, a bit of a 6,500 gold difference so far for both of these. For HCC, found themselves in a bit of an advantage. CC in a bit of a hole, but they knew they'd be there. Looking at their comp, they knew they wanted to be in this part in the late game, hoping they'd be able to take over. Going into it, we're going to take a quick break. Do not go anywhere. Welcome back. Sorry, we're having a bit of technical issues with the spectator. If you missed it, which everyone did, Mystic Way, Milk Bubble Tea, and Yomi all got taken down. This Nunu has been so massive for the side of HCC.
Now they're onto the Baron. Right back into action.
Yeah, they're pushing Baron. They've got themselves an 18-5 kill lead. They've got themselves almost a 10,000. Oh, make that an 11,000 or a 10,500 gold lead as Murdervox might be pushed up too far. Awesome Alex looking to burst him down. I know late game Kale can be strong, but I don't think anything he can do about this as he's just going to get taken down for over pushing. Awesome Alex and my friend told me to able to take it down.
Yep, simple lockdown of Kale. Got the ult out early. The Gore Drinker was a good one from Aatrox. Awesome Alex, smart there. Easy shutdown of the Kale. The Kale right now is the biggest threat, I would say, in my opinion. I mean, I understand that Caitlyn is ahead with 3 and 4, not too far behind. Good CS, but so easy to lock her down with some of the champions on the side for HCC as, oh, here we go.
Steal wasn't able to find it. Mystic Way goes down looking for the steal. That's going to be Soul, Infernal Soul for HCC. 12,
Valiant effort, Mystic. Valiant effort.
I appreciate it. me and Slayer send you our best wishes, but unfortunately it'll be gray screen for you.
Yep, a gray screen. This game is starting to look a bit out of hand, Bonfire. I know I talked about the scaling, but now they've got Baron, they've got Soul on Dragon. They're knocking down these towers like it's nobody's business. This game could be over quickly.
Yeah, and this is an interesting first game to have because this might be a bit soul-breaking, you know, having these crazy picks going with the scripting going mid on Nunu, something that many people could question, including ourselves, as I have to stop that point right now. My friend told me to. Locking up Milk Bubble Tea. Awesome Alex going in as well. The damage just isn't there for the side of CC. Coach Graves flashing in, gets instantly suppressed. There's the ultimate, not able to get anything, and Mystic Way is the recipient of a 550 gold shutdown.
That was just a little too aggressive from Coach Graves. He's played very well, but you always got to think about Malzahar's ability to shut you down. He gets caught in turret aggro and gets absolutely popped. Hey, listen, they're crawling back a little bit. They stay off some of the Baron pushes. They're pushing off. They push Nunu off the top lane. They didn't lose an inhibitor tower. Baron isn't going to be around much longer. Good win for CC there, Bonfire.
Yeah, they hold them to not getting a singular inhib turret even, not even an inhib as well. So very good being able to stage off the Baron. That being said, do you feel like it's too little too late at this point?
You know, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but there's just not much they can do here. There's so much CC, and Coach Graves and scripting have found so many intricate ways to get on the backline, get on this Caitlyn. The only thing I can really see them save, this is going to be HCC's game to throw. If they somehow pull off more easy opportunities for a Zerath ult or a Warwick ult trying to jump onto Yomi, maybe they can throw it, but as I'm very certain they're going to be cracking the base soon, and even if they don't, they have Elder coming up soon, which will force CC out of their base with such a big gold advantage. You just don't lose those fights.
Oh, Awesome Alex might be pushed up a little bit too much. There's a great ultimate from Mystic Way. Can they keep him locked down?
There's the CC.
There you go, rooted. Awesome Alex isn't able to Gore Drinker his way out of that one. That being said, reinforcements are here. Don't know if the damage is here for it as well as King T-Hole pushes the top side. They don't go for the fight. My friend told me to. Has to be a little careful. Mystic Way not able to do anything, and it's just too tanky on the side of HCC. And King T-Hole just is able to push the top tower by himself.
King T-Hole did get some gold back, but that was a great play from CC, getting out of their base and catching Awesome Alex out.
Lands the flash. As we see right now, Yomi is going to get locked up. Flashes to try to get away. Wasn't able to. King T-Hole might be in a bit of difficulty. I take that back. Zerath able to keep him down. And Coach Graves and my friend told me to. Just pushing the mid inhib.
The classic sin of chasing down for a kill in the top lane. Warwick went a little too hard. Mystic Wave trying to get some gold back. Probably should have been biding their time and helping out Yomi, as that is mostly their win con, as we see more plays from the duo.
Serial might be in danger, able to get out. Vox uses the ult on himself for the damage. And there goes the mid inhib. There goes the top inhib.
Breaking the base open, Bonfire. Might be too little too late.
Bottom inhib feels like it's gonna go soon as well.
There you go. You got top and mid. Should see them rotate over to the bot side. Might see a reset here, but last year my friend told me to. Worried about
an ultimate of Mystic Way. We talked about how ever important that CC was on the side of Cilantro Crabs. Obviously incredibly dangerous if you get caught inside of it. So he flashes away from that, and critically it's going to be 1:13 until Baron and 2 minutes until Elder.
Yeah,
Feels like if there's going to be a comeback from CC, it's going to have to be a miracle shot of one of these.
yeah, I mean, the only way CC, Cilantro Crabs, you got to bide your time. There always is a silver lining to Super Minion Waves. I know LS loves to talk about it all the time when I hear him. They bring you golden XP more than normal, so you can help you get back into games. They last too long, as we see. Nudu's back on the hunt.
Mysterio has to be careful, just gets popped.
Oh my god.
Not even able to do anything. Doesn't have flash up from a previous engagement. Chose not to go against Yomi because he ducked into the jungle. Much more difficult to land a snowball there. Says, I will be happy with the bucket of bolts.
100%. That's just not. You want to get back in the game, you just simply can't get caught outside your base. You need to sit back, turtle in, and take the Super Minion Waves, get the gold back, and play for some sort of fight around Baron or Elder. It will be interesting to see the Bonfire because Baron and Elder sort of spawn close-ish, but with how much gold is on the side of HCC, I expect them to shred this before Elder can even come up on the other side of the map.
Yeah, and there's nothing that CC can do because if you look at the top jungle, look at all of the vision towards the side of HCC. They just have, it's all lit up red. It's like a Christmas tree. There's nothing that CC can do to surprise them. They're able to see them if they ever tried to dip into and try to steal a Baron. Nothing they can do. CC knows this. They just say, you know what, you can have the Baron. And it looks like they're going to take another fight. HCC doesn't seem like they want to take another fight. They just seem like they want to end.
Looks like it's going to power up the Super Minions down mid. They are very confident with that. About 6,000 gold lead right now. And the Tristana, we know how quickly she can shred towers. As when we see a fight break out.
Ultimate on top of Coach Graves, not the person you want to go on top of. Quick fight going on. Mystic Way getting knocked down. Everyone getting knocked down. Big shockwave. The host force are actually going down. There's the Aatrox. There's the Nunu as well as the Tristana. The Wombo combo as Imperial gets popped. Oh my goodness, the damage.
Snowball of death.
This is going to be a game one win for HCC. Finds them ahead in the series.
What a first game. I am certainly surprised.
Yeah,
I can't believe that.
This was a great game. Yeah, you go.
I'm shocked. Listen, I had my doubts. I had my doubts about that comp, but man, oh man, scripting with the Nunu absolutely surprised me. He was popping health bars all over the map. I will say that last fight, that Orianna Shockwave was great. Yomi almost pulled off the immaculate team fight, but man, Nunu and Udyr all over the map.
Yeah, there was so much damage on the side. I'm actually curious what the damage charts were looking towards it. Let's see. Damage charts.
Oh
I'm gonna pull it up right now. Yeah, it was an unbelievable amount of damage from that Nunu, and we talked about, or at least I talked about, how worried I was on the side of HCC that they weren't gonna have that damage. You know, they weren't gonna be able to do the AP damage that they needed alongside the Tristana. Obviously, consider me proven wrong.
We're both proven wrong here, Bonfire. I mean, 18K was obviously not the quickest game, 27 minutes, but I did say 30 minutes was the sort of immaculate deciding time, and we didn't reach that. I will say, though, Kale did get some damage out. 13K over the Aatrox, mostly set off to the side lanes. This was certainly a stomp, though, and we are just both astonished with this comp. They proved us wrong in every facet of this game.
Quickly, before we go to a break, what does CC have to do to ensure that they can pick up a game two, an ever important match two victory against HCC?
Honestly, I just think CC, if Cilantro Crabs, they want to lean on the late game comps, that's fine, but you got to be careful for these early games. And honestly, ban out the Nunu. I'm going to say it. I'm sorry. I've got to say ban out the Nunu. Got to be watching out for that.
Slayer says Nunu ban. I say, stay tuned. We should have a fantastic game two coming your way. Do not go anywhere. Welcome back to the series of Cilantro Crabs versus Honda Civic Crew. Game 1, if you missed it, went to the side of Honda Civic Crew. If you missed it, 4-0 in the regular season so far, looking to make it 5-0 against Cilantro Crabs. What a first game that was to start us off, Slayer. Yeah,
Crazy first game. I mean, we were sitting here questioning this comp of Nunu mid. Where was the damage going to be? We factored out Nunu, Bonfire. He was popping people out here. It was unbelievable. But we don't have much time to talk about it, though, Bonfire. I think we're getting right into the next draft.
Yeah, picks and bans are starting right now. You can already see Nocturne and Graves, obviously the first two bans from the previous draft coming through. Obviously, neither of these teams wants to deal with the Graves or the Nocturne. And then the KO ban, even though it didn't work for CC last game, HCC says we don't want to have to deal with the late game potential of it.
Listen, they understand, though, that KO was starting to get rolling and could have been the bane or the thorn in their side. That was a smart ban. Will we get the Nunu ban? We don't. So they might pull it out again, Bonfire. I don't know. We'll see with this first pick.
I'd be surprised if they first picked Nunu, but then again, I was surprised by how well Nunu did. They opted to go with the Leona instead, blind picking their support. They feel like, I assume, they feel strongly about Leona. It must have done well in scrims, or it must go really well with how my friend told me to plays it. As that was an incredibly strong Leona last game, locking people down in the laning phase, making Yomi and Wysterio's life very difficult.
Yeah, this is where I'd like to see a Thresh pick to the counter. Thresh can obviously shut down some of the disengage from Leona. You can flay her out of her chain. You can box to slow her down, slow down teams. It's a very good disengage champ. I'd like to see Thresh's response, but we get a Kai'Sa AD carry first pick. That's interesting.
Yep. Kai'Sa has a lot of the ability to get away from that CC with her ultimate. Obviously goes invisible as well. CC continuing with their late game strength in their draft, saying, you know what, even though we struggled early last game, we're going to continue to pick up this late game style comp. Opting to go with Galio.
I like that
if that's going to be a Galio mid or a Galio support. I'm
hoping that's a Galio support, Bonfire, because we talk about Thresh's disengage ability. Galio can certainly grab attention from everybody on the map with the taunt and the knock back to throw Leona off of her comp as well. I like that. I also like the ability to dive into the team and knock everybody up. Looks like CC switching up their comp style. They may be going for a dive comp even through the AD carry.
Yep, Set, Samira, Leona, this is a comp that wants to get on top of you. I'm surprised that they still decided to go with Set and Samira, with Galio being picked up because of the potential of a taunt. But they must feel like the engage ability of Set, Leona, Samira is just too strong that Galio cannot do enough against it. Obviously, a very strong early game draft from HCC again. I'm curious how this is going to all pair together.
Yeah, it's going to be very fun to watch bot lane, to watch Samira Leona. That will certainly be an interesting comp as we have Ornn breakout. It's an interesting pick, can also do knockups. It looks like we're just going to be throwing HGC in the air and praying that they don't come down alive, Bonfire.
It does seem like that's the hope. CC going with a lot of knockups. It's funny that you mentioned it. I like the Ornn pick along with Galio. I think they go really well together. Obviously,
also late game.
Ornn can keep you locked up. Good point. Ornn can keep you locked up, get you knocked up, and then the Galio can just jump on top of you. Ornn is pretty happy with being in the middle of everyone. Galio needs someone like that.
Late game could obviously, Ornn can hand up buffed items to give your team another edge, as we see a Silas ban, probably going to start targeting lane. My boy Viego, he gets a ban. I'm glad to see that he got a ban. Interesting to see where we'll go. We have jungle open for both sides, and I believe we have mid. Is it jungle and mid in both lanes? Yes. Jungle and mid in both names.
Both lanes. Yeah, it seems as if CC does not want to give them the first pick for mid. I assume they're waiting on the new pick. They must have something up their sleeve. They see the Udyr from last game. They said, we were not a fan of how you played it. They decided they are going to ban it out. And curiously, actually, we see the Warwick ban as well. HCC must not have been a fan of the lockdown potential that the Warwick had. CC, 10 seconds to pick.
Both junglers did well in fights. Obviously, Warwick got moving a little bit slower because Udyr could clear a bit faster. Mystic Wave did play some fights well, as we see Victor. This is late. We're going late game. I told Cilantro Crabs, stick to the late game as long. You just got to play smarter in the early. Man, oh man, Bonfire. If Cilantro Crabs, I'm being serious this time. If this comp hits 30 minutes, it's game over. This comp will wreck.
Yeah, you say that, and HCC says, you know what, Slayer, we're gonna pick you a Cassidy. Cassidy would be their late game carry. They
Oh, they
decide to go
switched
with
it.
Nunu.
Oh my
They heard me
god.
saying it. They decide to go with Nunu
Oh my
instead.
gosh.
Nunu
Of
definitely
course.
back to the Nunu. And the thing is, you have to be careful. Might be a Nunu jungle, but I'd be surprised. Nunu mid seems like it's definitely going to be the pick.
Yeah, it definitely could be the pick here. I'm leaning towards CC again. Listen, I know last time I started doubting Honda Civic's comp, but I think they are a lot more poised to take the brunt force from the Nunu, who is officially mid. I'm going to assume J4 is not going mid against Victor. That would be an interesting matchup. But listen, CC, if you can sit back and you don't lose heart early, Ornn and Galio can certainly tank some snowballs.
Yeah, you say that though, but I think that this is a disaster for the mid lane. I think Victor goes so poorly into Nunu. Nunu obviously should never get locked up in his stun trap. Vi gonna be picked up for the side of CC for the tankiness and the lockdown potential. And
Vi is very interesting pick to me here. I don't know about Vi. I'm assuming this might just be a comfort pick that they're going towards here, but Vi is all about getting on the back line towards somebody. Who's really do you go to the back line on this HEC comp? Samir's gonna be right up with all the tanks. Samir wants to get right on top of everybody, just like a Set does, a J4 does. So it'll be interesting. I guess we'll see Vi jump on top of Samira, I assume, but not really going to go. There's not really a backline for HCC. They're really just throwing themselves at the wall. Vi is an interesting pick. I want to see how that plays out.
yeah, CC electing to play a lot more front to back. HCC deciding that they're going to play more all on top of you, like you mentioned. I think all eyes are on the mid lane and the jungle again, as we talked about. HCC obviously came up with the win in the first game solely off of the mid and the jungle roaming so much, getting the top lane ahead, getting the bot lane ahead. So I'm curious if CC can find a way to stop it. I will say they didn't draft for it. They didn't draft for early game prio in mid and top. In fact, the opposite. They drafted for late game prio. So I'm curious if that is going to stunt them and make their lives incredibly difficult late game.
Yeah, I will say, don't blame me as this is the AD carry coming out Bonfire, no, but I love watching bot lane matchups. Surprise, surprise. I will say, though, from the side of CC, from HCC, you had King Tehol and my friend Tommy too rolling early with the early game pressure on the Leon and the Tristana, but I will give credit where credit is due. Yomi responded very well. Caitlyn's mid game can be very, very shaky. He found some picks with the ultimate, got some gold back going. So I'm really going to be watching to see how if the early game looks different from these bot lanes and how the mid game plays out, especially with some new AD carries introduced.
Well, I definitely know that the top lane should be Resident Sleeper. I don't imagine Ornn Set are going to be hammering away at each other too much. That being said, you could see Set try to get an advantage on Ornn. Ornn obviously can't really fight as well as Set can. He might try to bully the Ornn down into lane and utilize that early game pressure. If you are the jungler for, if you are the jungler for CC, you're finding yourself in a very difficult situation as it seems like you have almost all losing lanes.
I will say though, Bonfire, that's a good point, but I do want to talk about this because Vi has been, I've seen a lot of Vi's recently, especially at this level, running some serious lethality instead of the tankiness and going to pop people. You might look out to see if Vi goes toward Ornn topside. You might be getting pushed in to try to get Vi rolling, getting some kills under the set, because if Vi can get rolling, get some lethality behind her, she absolutely pops people. So look out for that.
Yeah, Vi can definitely do quite a lot of damage, especially going towards the late game. I also think Vi can displace the damage of Samira and J4, like you talked about. Once they're on top of you, you're in the mix of Vi. Vi can just punch you up, knock you down. Like we talked about the knockups, she joins Team Knockup. It's like the NBA All-Star team right here. They just want to knock you up and dunk you down. So I'm curious if all of that knockups can translate into a CC win. Should be a really interesting game.
This is certainly an interesting game because we have a sort of similar comp from HCC rolling with the sort of we're going to go at you early and we're going to hit you hard. Everyone's going to jump on top of you, including AD carry. And it's sort of the late game comp again, but I like the reaction to the Nunu from Cilantro. I think this will work out better. Maybe I'll bite my words again like I did last game due to the Nunu. That's something we'll have to figure out once we get into game.
Yeah, like we talked about scripting proving both of us wrong. Neither of us are questioning the Nunu mid pick anymore. I'm curious if he can find as much success against a different lane opponent and a different jungle opponent as he did before.
Yeah, it'll certainly be very, very interesting to watch, but you really have to look out for the Victor scaling. The Victor scaling, he could pop anybody. And some of these guys on this side of on the side of Honda Civic aren't the most tanky sort of champions. I mean, Leona will obviously go straight tank, but I'm assuming your J4 will build a Gore Drinker, maybe get a Sterex Gauge going sort of a little bit Bruiser style, and Set, obviously we know, loves to go Bruiser style in this meta right now. Victor can certainly pop the Bruisers if he gets the peeling needed for him. So it's all about what point, how does HCC play this early game, and how does CC react and stay back and try to get to the late game.
Yeah, I was going to actually mention it. Slayer, you talk about the early game as such an importance. How would you like to see the pathing of both of these junglers? Do you want to see a potential invade from HCC utilizing their early game? Do you want to see CC try to get some wards so they can try to possibly steal a camp away? Is there anything with the jungling in the early game that you want to see from either side?
Well, I'd like to see Vi path up to top quickly. I really think it's smart to get Vi going against the Set. Set will certainly be able to push Ornn in early, and if you plan for it right, obviously Ornn can take a seat back and help facilitate a certain gank. And on the side of HCC, I would not be surprised if we see scripting running right through the river and going right for a snowball off the bat, trying to get a play.
Well, do not go anywhere. We've got ourselves a fantastic game 2 on our hands for all the marbles. This one might decide who wins or who doesn't, or decide if we go to a game 3 or we do not. We're going to go to a quick break. We'll see you in the action soon. Welcome into Summoner's Rift. It is game 2 of the open unstoppable matchup of Cilantro Crabs versus Honda Civic Crew. Cilantro Crabs is on the red side, Honda Civic Crew on the blue side. We should have a fantastic game. Before we get into the gameplay, important thing to mention, Mystic Wave and Murdervox switched roles of top and jungle. So Murdervox was on the top lane last game. Mystic Wave opting to go onto the jungle. Excuse me, getting all mixed up. Murdervox was on the top lane. Mystic Wave going top this game.
Looks like we're getting an old-fashioned drive-by here. They both go past each other. It'll be interesting to see how the reactions played from this. They're going to get some deep boards. I wonder who's figuring out. We're getting some pings. Cilantro's looking around. Oh, here we go. Might have some action here.
We've got ourselves a early fight. My friend told me to. There's the early taunt. Finds 3. It's going to be a first kill. Kaisa gets it. Awesome Alex in a bit of danger. I don't know if they have the CC to follow up, and it's just a first kill. No sums taken except for King T-Hole's heal. But that was an interesting, like you talked about, engage. They played the waiting game, able to hop inside of the bush last minute. My friend told me to. Finds himself dead early on. And it's the first early kill for Yomi.
Oh my gosh, that was a certainly great play, but I think we're gonna have to quickly cut to break here, Bonfire, due to some technical issues.
Yep. Technical issues tonight. I don't know what to say. Bit of an issue all along. That being said, we're back into the game.
Yep, back into the action, and just as we're watching the lanes farm out a little bit, I do want to comment on that invade. That's what happens sometimes when you go by, I like to call it the passing lanes, the highway sort of invades. You come back around as, oh, we have a fight break on the top.
Both teams just looking to trade a little bit. Don't want to fight too early. And Mystic Way looks to trade away. Yomi is Serial. Lines the stun on top of them. King 2 Hill might have to get away. My friend told me to. Engaging instantly by Serial, and there's nothing to be found. Yomi ignited. And that's the ignite from my friend told me to. Yomi feels pretty fine about it. As why Serial is just going to help Yomi get a bit ahead. Just trading all around the map.
That's the ability of a Galio to disengage off of the Leona. You love to see it. Certainly a better response than we've seen from the previous games. Yomi is the target here. Got that gold from the... Oh!
Flash taunt, my friend told me to. Locked up, gets knocked up. Yomi getting it locked up as well. Can he do? He's going to stun flash. My friend told me to. He's sure to fall. Does fall. King T-Hole takes down. It's a trade. As we go to the top lane, it actually doesn't stop Coach Graves going against Mystic Way knocks him down. They don't have the damage, and that's going to be kill on the side of Murderfox. Looking to kill Awesome Alex. Awesome Alex might be able to get away. Gets knocked up. Finds the W. Murderfox scripting the roll up as well. It's going to be disastrous. Murderfox isn't able to find the kill, and we're going to have to go to a quick break as well. I seem to be having some technical issues. Cannot fix the client. Thank you all for being so useful. Wiserio looking to get out, taunting Coach Graves. Coach Graves looking for a fight. Wiserio might be in a bit of danger, able to get out, getting instantly into a fight. Yomi trying to get knocked down Coach Graves. Coach Graves able to get the heal from King T-Hole, keeping him alive. just scrapping all around the map.
Lot of early action, Bonfire, but it's not completely one-sided here. We did see the classic case of biting off too much more than you can chew from the side of Cilantro Crabs here, as we have another fight breaking out.
Yomi might be in a bit of danger. Can't find anything. There's going to be the teleport from both top laners. And Mystic Wave might be able to find King T-Heal. T-Heal pushed up way too far. Awesome Alex looking to go into Mystic Wave. Double knock-up. The rotation from Milk Bubble Tea and Murderfox coming in. My friend told me to. Looking for the stun. Mystic Wave looking for the knock-up. Can't find it. Uses the W. And there's nothing more to be had. Just a 1-for-1 on both sides.
Non-stop action, Bonfire. These two are going at each other's throats. Cilantro bit off. I want to go back to that top lane fight. You saw Cilantro, Vi, Murdervox bite off a little too much more. Got the kill on to the J4. Tried to reach out for the set, but turned around with the W, and by that time, Scripting and the Snowball is all the way up top to take the kill away on a Mystic Wave. This game's pretty even after that. We saw Cilantro making a couple better early moves now, but ever since then, ever since that top blunder, it's basically just been trading blows back and forth, as we just recently saw the trades of 80 carry here. Check out some of the CS numbers. You have Samira with a CS advantage down bottom lane. You expected that. They're a little more of aggressive bottom lane. And Nunu with another huge CS lead over Victor despite being able to roam. Scripting is just the all-star for this team so far.
Yeah, Scripting's utilized his lane advantage. It seems as if Cilantro Crabs just kind of able to say, you know what, you can have that mid lane advantage. We're going to utilize Milk Bubble Tea's ability to go around the map, and it's made them even in kills so far. So far, just about a 5,000 gold difference between the two. Nothing really much to be talked about. Is awesome. Alex looks for something on top of Mystic Wave. Doesn't know Murdervox is there right now. There's the ultimate from Mystic Wave. Murdervox knocks him up. Do they have the damage? Awesome Alex uses the face breaker. Can he find anything more? There's the ultimate on top of Murdervox. Is it going to be enough? Nope. Murdervox escapes with his life. Great gank. Make sure Mystic Wave and Murdervox is able to get the kill. Keep an eye on Scripting, though. Scripting rolling in. Is Murdervox able to get away? Scripting, there's the flash. There's the kill. Able to get the kill, but they're going to be able to trade it out as it's a 1-for-1. Nunu getting it.
Does not stop.
Oh, Mysterio has to be careful. Lands the taunt on top of King T-Hole, which lands into a bit of damage from Yomi. They don't know Coach Graves is there, though. Mysterio might be in a bit of trouble. Does have flash. Uses his E to get away. Does have flash. He's able to use the flash to get away. Coach Graves wants this badly. Doesn't know Yomi is right there. There's the damage from Yomi. Coach Graves, the taunt from Mysterio. Coach Graves able to kill Mysterio, and there's nothing that Yomi can do. But here we go. Murdervox coming in. The ultimate on top of Coach Graves. Coach Graves won't be able to disengage quick enough.
My gosh, Bonfire! I don't know if you mind, but I'm gonna talk for a little bit. I think you deserve a little bit of rest there.
We'll see if it works.
I'm gonna give you a little bit of rest there. There's a lot of fighting. Again, we've seen the emergence of what I'm gonna claim as a knock-up city. I'm gonna refer to them as, for Cilantro Crabs, knock-up city. The Ornn ult is a great play in the strat. Great job canceling the set E with the Ornn W, the fire breath into the play there. The shield still is enough. And then you switch over to the bot lane, and what a fury of that. Especially funny sort of moment to see you. Oh, we have another fight break on the mid. You're back on it, Bonfire.
Going into Milk Bubble Tea. Milk trying to stand in his zone. Scripting has to run away from the Milk Bubble Tea ult, and this is the power of the Victor. When Scripting does get on top of you, assuming you don't get quickly burned, you're able to trade along pretty well.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about before we got into this game. Victor, if he drops this W off the stun zone, you can get Nunu to throw the snowball the wrong way, and then you have the Chaos Storm. Obviously does a lot of sustainable damage. You don't get popped. You can survive, and, you know, Victor's only going to scale up and be able to trade more and more. I do want to sort of comment on a very funny moment. You saw J4 go hard. Oh, we have a trading the top. Nothing there, really. I'm going to keep going on my little rant here. Galio taunts the J4 to try and shut down him jumping on the 80 carry, but taunts him into a death. Oh, another fight in top.
Might be caught out, utilizing his ultimate, trying to knock up Awesome Alex. Awesome Alex just trying to disengage as much as he can. Mystic Wave, Murdervox coming in, but I think it's too little too late. He's out of that. He's going to survive with very little health. He's got next to nothing. Survives with 192 health. Murdervox, really great really disengage, and they're able to survive him, keep him alive. Scripting might land a big ult on Murder. What a damage! Scripting knocks down Murdervox. Oh my goodness, the damage on that. Oh my god.
Oh, here comes the gold swing Bonfire. You get plates off the top lane turret with Shelly, and that was really interesting. We watched Murdervox. They walked towards the bush a little bit. And here we go, Victor, another fight bring on mid.
Doesn't land what he wanted to. Milk Bubble Tea might be able to take this as a good engage. That's all of Scripting's damage down. But it seems like he's pretty content with just hammering away at him. There's the flash from Milk Bubble Tea. Scripting looking for the there's the stun. Excuse me. There's the ignite. Awesome Alex might be in a bit of danger. Nope, he feels pretty comfortable just taking what he can. They're not able to get the first tower, but they are able to find themselves another kill.
Man, Bonfire, these teams will not let you rest, huh? We are just back-to-back action here to switch back to that top side fight. It was interesting watching Murdervox walk into the bush. She got slowed on Vi, turned around, then went back towards it. And we have another fight bringing on the bot. Bonfire, take over.
Yomi, you might get stunned up. No, it's gonna be Ystero that gets stunned up. Gets the knockup on King T-Hole. Doesn't know. There's the ultimate. What a fantastic ultimate from this Chimera. Gets knocked up so many times. There's enough damage to trade it off, but you have to be careful. Scripting's right there. My friend told me to. Trying to stay alive. Murdervox cannot find the kill. This taunt on top of the Nunu, but that's going to be more than enough damage to kill Murdervox. Can he get the trade on Scripting? Scripting dipping in and out of vision. Not enough. Coach Graves able to secure that kill for HCC.
We got to see a little bit of that knock-up fun right there. You watch the Galio knock-up into the Vi ultimate. That's what you get from Knockout City. Another fight bringing on top, though.
Mystic Way, just trading away. There's getting Coach Graves able to lock him down. Milk Bubble Tea trying to find his way out of it. Just gets knocked up by two of them. Mystic Way flashes out of Awesome Alex's ult after he lands it.
Honda Civics all over the map. Mickey plays all over the map. Coach Graves, great job getting all of the DPS out of Xerath and allowing Scripting to get over the mid lane. Doesn't even need to hit the snowball, just needs to use the snowball to get there. Honda Civic's making plays all over the map, and it's starting to cancel out some of the plays from Cilantro, Crabs, aka Knockup City, what I'm dubbing them this game. They're making some plays, but they keep getting caught trying to chase for too much, biting off more than they can chew, and it's hurting them. And we're starting to see Nunu absolutely shut down Victor, who at this point in the game cannot get enough DPS out to sort of scare off the Nunu from doing that damage. And that Ignite Bite, obviously we saw earlier, was a sort of symbol of that, as we have a sort of lull in the game now. We take a look at some of the itemization from these players. Obviously, you take a look at the Vi, went for the Divine Sunderberg, went for that DPS build. Victor still not having an item, a legendary item yet, as he's getting chased down again.
Yep, Milk Bubble Tea able to disengage. Murdervox was sitting on top of a ward, so Scripting says, you know what, I don't want part of a 2v1. As we've got a bit of a standstill, both of them getting taunted. Can there be any kills going on? Murdervox finding himself, still be stunned. Uses his Mystic going in on Awesome Alex. We've got a bit of a fight in the top side. Both of them hammering away at each other. Mystic Wave feels like he's tanky enough to win this. I'm not sure if he is. Coach Graves gets knocked out. There's the Vi ultimate. Gets knocked up. He does not have enough health. Yes, he does. He flashes away. Yomi uses ult to get on top of him. Awesome Alex looks like he might fall down to the top side, as we've got a fight on a fight on a fight. Mystic Wave able to take him down, and the mid lane is going to go towards CC.
My gosh, drop the hammer on set, canceling the TP, which is a big play for the fight as we have more going on mid.
There's the flash the flash taunt isn't able to kill anyone, and there's the shielding from Scripting, and the flash keeps him alive. There's just going to be a little too aggressive from Ystero. I appreciate the effort, but the damage isn't there from Victor yet, and it goes towards the side of HCC.
Talking about how HCC was dominating plays all over the map, Cilantro Crabs get right back into it, shore up some of this gold. It's all about Mystic Wave here. Mystic Wave able to spot out Awesome Alex trying to TP into this fight and make a difference. He cancels it and then solo kills him, and that allows the rest of his team to catch out J4, and we got to watch Vi go for a sweet ride, shutting down the J4. We've got a game on our hands again, Bonfire. The gold lead is basically even at this point.
Yeah, and you have to look at the Dragons as well, going towards the side of CC. This is certainly not what you want if you were on HCC. It felt like you were in such good dominance, but you give up some of the Dragons, you give up some shutdowns, excuse me, and you also still have to look at the Nunu shutdown. 600 gold. Of course he's going to fall at some point in the game. You have to make sure it doesn't fall to the Victor, because if it does, this Victor is back in the game, and you have to worry about the AP of Victor and the AD of Yomi late game.
I do want to take the time to shout out the... Oh, I'm going to pause. I know what's going on. Here we go.
Coach Graves is caught out, trying to take the buff, just a little too greedy. and there's no disengage to be had. Able to get the blue buff as well. Disaster from Coach Graves, doing it on no vision. They catch him out. It's going to be a kill towards CC.
I saw that one coming, Bonfire. I didn't want to cut you off. I could see that one coming. I got one of them going. But to go back to your point, I do want to point out Yomi has played a lot of these fights masterfully. Kaisa is one of those very high variance AD carries with her ability to jump onto the backline. You have to be very selective with when you decide to do that because you could just basically throw your lead as we have a fight bring out in bot.
Milk Bubble Tea is just going to get bursted down
Oh
instantly,
my
and
God.
that is the issue with Victor against Nunu. If you do not survive that initial burst, you are going to be gray for the next 50 seconds.
Stop me if we've seen this before, but we're in another game. It's the same stuff, Bonfire. This Nunu got the Hex Tech under his belt. He's absolutely popping people. Another fight breaking out mid.
Stereo might be in trouble, can't land the E to get out. Instead, only as a knockup, tries to ult to get away. Able to. Coach Graves looking to kill him. I don't know if he gets away. Vi going in, but just gets instantly popped by Scripting. Scripting has been the difference maker in these two games, and he continues to be 9-1-2 in this game. Unbelievable.
That's the problem with this lethality Vi, is you are squishy. So those new snowballs absolutely hurt, and then to sort of salt the wound, Murdervox blows a flash on a very fruitless effort. There was no way he was going to kill off Coach Graves there, but still ends up blowing the flash there. I do want to go back and talk back to Kaisa. Like I said, a high variance AD carry. She has played some of her ultimates great, being able to get shutdowns. That's why she has that bounty. She's farming decently, but she's been able to kill off some opponents in some of these fights. Be interesting to watch how she plays, though, with this Nunu rolling. We'll see if she can use her ult to dodge the snowballs. It's something we're going to have to watch for the rest of the game, Bonfire.
Mystic Way sitting in the bush, might try to go for something. Right now, Yomi just clearing vision. Awesome Alex might
Here
be
comes
caught
the
out.
ult.
Mystic Way feels comfortable enough fighting him right now. There's
Oh.
the flash. What damage? Gets the knockup as well, along with the E, but here comes Coach
Here's the
Graves.
reinforcements.
Knocks up Ornn. Ornn, does he have enough damage? Awesome Alex running away with very little health. The ultimate from Awesome Alex. Oh, Awesome Alex surviving with such little damage. Survives. Coach Graves might be in a bit of damage. Might be in a bit of. Oh, we've got more fights on the map. King T-Hole going down. Possibly there's the ultimate from Samira doing so much work, but I don't know if it's enough. Coach Graves going in on Yomi. The flash. Yomi has to disengage. Just going down to the little bit of health. And my friend Tommy's too is just not going to be able to win this fight for him. Yomi
There's
survives
the
the
ace.
entire thing. Can he? Goes down to Ignite at the end of the day, but it will be an ace for Cilantro Crabs.
Cilantro Crabs with their first gold lead of the series with a beautiful plays. Mystic Wave has been absolutely brilliant on this Ornn, bullying Awesome Alex. The switch has paid off on that sense. It should be staying in the top lane if we see this win come out from Cilantro Crabs. But there was so much going on the map, and there's still more going on the map. I don't know how I'm going to get the talk.
Oh, CC might pop it up more than they can shoot. Milk Bubble Tea going to go down really quickly while Stereo looks to be in a bit of trouble. I don't see how he gets out. Maybe if he can
Flash,
find
Hex
the
Tech.
blast cone. Able to find the blast cone to get out E away.
All right, well, we have more action still going on as we go back to mid. Look out, Mystic.
Mistake trying
All
to
the
run
way
in
around.
circles, but Leona, you can now run in circles from a Leona, gets locked up, gets CC'd, is going to find his way to the base, and it's going to be a 500 gold shutdown back to the set.
So I do want to point out, hopefully we'll get enough time to put this out. There were some very key shutdowns. Before Milk Bubble Tea got popped, he actually shut down Nunu bot. So that's 700 gold you're talking about. Bonfire, 1,000 of it, plus the kill went over to Milk Tea. He now has his Ludens. He's got upgraded boots. He's got the Sheen. It'll be interesting to see where he goes with that. But he's certainly scaling up. And then you saw Set get the revenge on Mystic Wave. Another fight breaking out, though.
Coach Graves might have gone too far. This is going to be a split fight right now. Westeros trying to get out, gets stunned up. There's the ultimate, but it's Coach Graves along inside with you. You do not want to be there, Coach Graves. Going in, Yomi gonna get locked up. Do they have the damage to kill Yomi? Yomi disengaging so well, scripting, fighting. It's a fight on all sides. Virtuofox bit off more than he can chew. There's so much
Here
Victor
comes Ornn.
damage on top of it. Ornn in the backside. It's going to be scripting and awesome versus Milk Bubble Tea and Mystic Way. Mystic Way slowing them. So much healing from the side of scripting. Awesome Alex might go down, finds the W onto Milk Bubble Tea. It's not going to be enough damage. Also backwards to try to get away. Lives with just 82 health. Scriptic might be in a bit of damage. Does he get knocked up? He does. He has to Zanya to try to get away from it, but he is certainly dead. And it's going to be a shutdown. 400 gold on the side of Mystic Way. CC take that fight 4-2.
Mystic Wave is making plays all over the map this game. Not only does he stop Nunu from getting away on the snowball there, knocking him into the wall just barely, but he actually canceled the Nunu ult from scripting that would have definitely popped him and Milk Bubble Tea, able to keep Milk Bubble Tea alive, let him DPS. Another crazy fight. Yomi did some great disengage, great use of the cleanse. Did end up going down, but it costed a lot on the side of CC as we have a bit of a blue bite skirmish break off.
It's going to be a flash for Coach Graves. Doesn't seem like CC are too interested. Coach Graves just jumping straight in, gets knocked up, but they just are looking towards Baron, and then Coach Graves has to be careful, might be able to get out, has to wait on the cooldowns.
Good
just
EQ
able
combo.
to get out. And it
Smart.
seemed like it was a bit too early on the ultimate from the Kaisa.
Yeah, I would have expected, not only was it early, but the positioning from the Kaisa ultimate was interesting as, oh, Snowball does not hit anybody. Interesting, because if you position that right, Bonfire, you can obviously stop J4. Actually, never mind, you can't. But you position that further down the line, maybe you can get an E off and speed yourself up to catch up to J4. Was a bit too early. I would have waited for the EQ combo to come out there. But, wow, what a game we have on our hands. A 3K gold lead now for Cilantro Crabs as they secured the Baron, as I was trying to explain everything that's going on by the map. But that's what happens when you have 41 kills in 21 minutes, Bonfire.
Yeah, this has been an absolute barn burner. As we set up for Dragon, there's going to be a teleport. It might be too far in. Awesome Alex might be in the middle of everything, trying to find it onto Milk Graves. Gets knocked up. Awesome Alex, they're not focusing on Yomi. They're able to kill the Victor critically. Awesome Alex might be going down. We're looking towards the other side of it. It's the fight on two fronts. Murdervox going in on my friend told me to, and King T-Hole. T-Hole sectioned away from everything. Gets knocked up. It's this Ornn shutting down the Samira, making sure she can't be in the fight. My friend told me to might be caught out. Yomi gonna get popped by scripting, but my Coach Graves is also gonna go down. Mysterio trying to get away. Scripting might try to find Mysterio. Mysterio able to get out of there just barely. And Scripting is just on the wrong side of the map to get the Dragon. This Dragon surely is going to go to CC.
Yeah, that fight was the tale of two teams trying to knock out the opposing bot lanes. First, you saw Milk Bubble Tea got caught out by the set as, oh, here comes Scripting again.
Scripting going in on Mysterio. Might have bitten off more than he can chew. Here comes the reinforcements. Nope, the ultimate should pop Mysterio, and it does. Before the reinforcements can come.
An interesting stopwatch there. That was a little bit early, I thought, Bonfire. I thought he had the edge on Scripting. I would have expected that to have not had to come out, but regardless, as we have a bit of a lull in time, I do want to point out those were two fights trying to dive onto the back line. Yomi did a great job disengaging. Milk Tea was the sacrifice on the back end, and by that point, Graves and Awesome Alex just didn't have enough damage. They tried to disengage. On the other side, you had King Taehol use their flash to get out from the Vi ult, and by that point, you had Scripting arrive to clean up some of the kills on the bot side, but on the flip side, you had Mystic end up towards the Dragon Pit to clean up some of those kills. It was basically an even fight. I believe it was 3 for 4. I believe it was 3 to 2 for the side of HCC.
On top of a ward. Let's see how quickly he dies. 1, 2, flashes, 3. There he goes.
4 seconds and he had to flash. It still didn't matter, Bonfire.
Losing time. Scripting is incredibly big. So much damage, so much health. This Nunu is an absolute menace. If you cannot burst down Scripting to start the game, I do not know if you have enough willpower in you to win the fight.
Yeah, Bonfire, it's glad you point out bursting him down because he did grab the Zanya, so he has that ability to go all in with the snowball, get some DPS down, and then go golden, buy himself some time for maybe the Leona ult to come over top, J4 to get some knockups set. All these guys, talk about this comp, jumping on top of everybody. If he can start it off and then go into his Zanyas, it could spell disaster for the side of Cilantro, but Cilantro Crabs do have this huge Ornn. Mystic Wave has been the MVP for their team, in my opinion, making so many plays, and Yomi does seem to play a lot of these disengages well. It's all really going to come down to how much damage can Milk Bubble Tea get out before he gets popped, because so far in these recent fights, he's been getting absolutely popped and the fights haven't been going their way, but when he stays alive, like when we saw him and Mystic Wave back in the river, when he gets peeled for and gets the damage out, they can win fights. So watch the Victor in these fights.
Keep an eye on the Victor. Slayer says, I will do just that as they're pushing up pretty far. Mystic Wave finds the knock-up. Keep an eye on Scripting. Flash by Mystic Wave.
Oh!
Mysterio, 4-man taunt. Is it enough damage? There's the fight. Mysterio gets popped incredibly early. I don't know if it is. Jarvan locks up a couple of them. It's going to be the ultimate from Murdervox. There's the damage. There's the kills. Scripting does so much damage. And that's going to be a shutdown. Awesome Alex grabs it. And the ace for Honda Civic Club.
Oh my gosh, what a combo from scripting. Not only does he go in and disrupt the Ornn in mid ultimate so he can't get out. The Galio taunt was a beautiful play, but the follow-up was completely discombobulated. They didn't get the Ornn knockup. Vi got blown up along with Galio immediately, and by that point, Yuumi had nowhere to DPS, Milk Bolty had nowhere to DPS out, and they just blew up the team, and what a sway into the game here for HCC.
HCC finding themselves back with the gold lead, find themselves back in front. How does HCC secure this victory? Because we talked about the scaling threats of Ornn and Victor and Kaisa coming into this game. Will they take over late game, or has HCC found themselves the comp that'll win it?
It really comes down to the play from some of these carries and the peeling, because we have a very interesting situation on our hands, Bonfire, that I haven't touched on too much. Both of these comps have ways to play reactionary and play aggressive. You can have the knock-up city from... You got Murdervox on Vi, you got Mystic Wave on that Ornn, they got ults. Galio can knock in and taunt a lot of people. They can be very active and go into a fight, but they also can be reactionary with Galio ulting to knock everybody up to save them as, looking for a pick play.
Has to be careful. Just going to use the control word, make sure that he doesn't fall.
Smart play, but then you switch to the other side. You have Awesome Alex on the set that can dive in. J4 can dive in with his ult and his combo scripting. Obviously, we've seen his snowballs all game, and Leona has her combos, but those all can be used reactionary as well. So it's really going to come down to peeling for some of these carries, in my opinion, and who can react better to the other one, who can be more aggressive and play better. These fights are going to be absolutely explosive. That's all I know right now, Bonfire.
Both of these teams know it as well. We've got ourselves a bit of a lull in the action. Neither team wants to make that first move, as you talked about. The reactionary ultimates and abilities from both teams are so strong. Neither team wants to make the first move and make the first mistake. It is Soul Point for the side of Cilantro Crabs, so I'm curious if they're going to be going towards the Dragon. At the moment, they're going to be losing the vision battle.
Baron already up. This is obviously the dilemma that happens to a lot of us. We've all played games. We know this dilemma. You have Baron on the map, but you also have Soul Point on the other side. Will HCC be willing to trade the Dragon for Baron? They've already got Set soloing it on his own right now, as Cilantro are going to start up the Baron. So we'll see the standoff. No Set here for this fight.
There's the Leona ultimate burned already. Finds nobody. Wiserio looking for the taunt. Finds it on My Friend Told Me To. My Friend Told Me To. Too tanky to go in on immediately.
Dragon secured for HCC on the back end.
That's a lot of engage. Burned already. Coach Graves might be in danger. There's the ultimate from 5, but it's too far away for anyone to follow up on. It's going to be about half of Coach Graves' health bar, and I'm not sure if the health bar is there. Mystic Wave might be caught out. Might be in danger. Able to E away. The stalemate continues. Neither team wants to be the first one to pull. The health bars aren't on the side of HCC, and they say, you know what? You win. We're going to all back.
That's a win for HCC, though. Secure the Cloud Drake on the back end through Awesome Alex. They stave off the Baron attempt. Chalk that up as a win for HCC. They can stall longer. They can stall this Soul Point longer. Cloud Soul obviously isn't always the greatest. Soul does give you movement speed, but I will say, though, HCC, Cloud Soul on its own does give ultimate ability haste as... Oh, we have a fight breaking out?
Two-man taunt. Wiserio might be too far pushed up. There's the double knock-up along with the Galio ultimate, forcing Scripting's ultimate, or excuse me, Zanya way too early. Milk might be caught out. Wiserio caught into it. There's so much fighting going on. Can they get Scripting? They
Yuumi!
Zerdaby's next to go. There's the ultimate from the grave, from the Ornn. Knocks up onto Awesome Dude. Finding Yomi. Yomi might be caught out. He is. Are they able to secure the ace? They're caught out. And they do. They secure the ace. CC in a back and forth fight. Able to secure the ace. And surely the Baron next.
That was all about Yomi in that fight. Played that so well towards the end. You had J4 and Leona come around and try to knock them down. Milk Bubble Tea did not get a lot of DPS out in that fight once again, but Yomi Flash is out of J4's ultimate there. DPS's him down, then turns right around and ults all the way back up to his other teammates at the blue buff to help knock down some of those other members of HCC. Completely turns the fight for a triple kill. Yes, he ended up getting caught out by a Leona chain, but by that point, Leona and Set were too low that his team could clean it all up. Interesting they didn't go for the Baron though. They decided to clear out some gold, get some gold back. opted away from the Baron. We'll see how that works out for them come later in the game. Regardless, what a fight for CC. This game is swinging back and forth and back and forth.
Yep, I was just told Yomi secured himself 4 of the 5 kills, a quadra kill for the ADC from the side of Cilantro Crabs. He is now 12-8-6 with 195. CC, if this team is going to win, it's going to have to be through their AD carry.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still watching Milk Bubble T still scaling up, dying a lot on these 1-8, does have those 9 assists, does getting some farm back up. If he can sit in the side lane, farm back up, I know how much damage this Victor can do. They have to be careful. You always have to have him in the back of their mind. But now, Bonfire, we get to the vision war around this Baron. Right now, you can see it's basically even. Nothing special here. We do have HCC with control vision over the pit, but Cilantro Crabs does have control of their side as the fight breaks out.
My friend told me to. Might have pushed up too far, too early, and he's just going to get popped by Yomi. Thought wise Stereo, but was by himself. Bit of a miscommunication. Scripting was too far behind, and it's going to be a 1-0. The support on the side of HCC down too early with Stereo possibly going in on Scripting. Scripting, can he get out of there? No, he's not. He's going to be locked down. He's going to fall, and this is a disaster for HCC. Coach Graves going to flash out of his own ultimate, knocked up by Vi. Surely that's going to be a kill for Yomi as well, and that is going to be 3-0 for the side of CC.
What a blunder from HCC, from Scripting and Coach Graves. They didn't seem to be on the same page there. They both all decided to go in with their combos a little too early. You had my friend told me to basically throw himself into the entire team, and then by that point you had Galio, Yastral jump on top of the Nunu, and they might just end the game off this.
They might be looking to end. The ultimate from Leona, trying to keep the game going too long. The taunt finds 3 of them. Do they have the damage? Look towards Yomi. Yomi doing so much damage on the backside. Gets ultimated. Set, trying to kill Yomi. Yomi gets knocked in. No, and it's going to be the end for CC, bringing us to a pivotal Game 3 as Scripting trying to pad his stats a little bit, but that is not going to be enough. And CC finds themselves a win, going to a pivotal Game 3.
Wow. What a game from Yomi. What an ability from this team in Cilantro Crabs. A lot of great disengage, especially towards the end of that fight. It really came down to decision making. You saw HCC hesitating. They weren't really all on the same page. My friend told me to goes, takes the chain into a 5-man, gets absolutely blown up, and then on the other end, CC knew exactly what they're going to do. They take advantage, they flash in. You had the Galio flash in to knock down the Nunu, and by that point, Coach Graves tries to save Scripting, but is all for naught, gets blown up, and that leads to a pivotal push down mid lane with the minions. What a late game play from CC. This game took a little bit longer. Hey, Bonfire, didn't I say it? It got past 30 minutes. CC was going to be in the driver's seat, and it hit 32 minutes.
You did say it. I'll have to give you credit on that. If you look at the damage charts of this already, Nunu doing so much damage, but pivotally, Jesus, excuse me. Yomi not doing the most damage on the team. Look at the Vi. The Vi doing so much damage, pushing out so much damage. I just want to highlight someone who I didn't think we talked about enough. Why Stereo, with the amount of taunts that he had, 2-3-man taunts in these fights. I think he even had a 5-man taunt. If they don't win this game, if he is not locking up pivotal members off of HCC.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Galio set up a lot of these plays, a lot of this great disengage. I know I like to talk about Yomi. The damage chart's not so high, but boy, was he stellar at positioning. Positioning at this level is all that matters from an AD carry, and we love the Nunu pick, blown up a lot of people, but the problem with building like this, you have a Rabadon's Death Cap, you have a Hextech, Zanya's Hourglass, you are very, very squishy. So if you go in there and you don't blow somebody up right off the bat and your team's not behind you, you will get absolutely decimated on the flip side. And that's exactly what we saw towards some of those later fights. Bravos to Cilantro Crabs. They didn't roll over and die when the game seemed to get dire. They banded together, and it was some great team play to win some of those late game fights and send us to a pivotal Game 3, Bonfire. We're there.
Yeah, we're in Game 3. Cilantro Crabs looks like they might have figured out the Nunu mid pick quickly. What do you think HCC has to do in their mid lane? Do you think they continue with the Nunu mid, or do you think they switch it up?
Honestly, they played that mid game pretty well. I really think they need to have a short-term memory. They just made some decision-making errors in that late game, not being on the same page. They were in the driver's seat for a lot of that. Just shore everybody up, get everybody's nerves down, and make sure you're making decisions as a team heading into that pivotal Game 3.
Wonderful. You heard it from Slayer. Game 3 coming up right now after the break. Stay tuned. We are back from an action-packed game two, which saw a fed Nunu, a fed Kaisa, a flashing Galio, Slayer. Whoa, how was that game?
That game was absolutely, well, I love how you described it, Bonfire. That was a barn burner of a game. So much back and forth action. We had so many kills going on. There were a couple of guys making some great plays. And most of these games, they're kind of close with a lot of team fighting capability. It really comes down to decision making. And some of the decision making on the side of HCC at the end was just a little bit misconstrued, a little bit of miscommunication. I hate to keep harping on it, but you simply can't. You have to sometimes let your teammates die in order to stave off the game. I really, truly believe if Coach Graves did not go in and try to save Nunu there on the back end, yes, CC would have went out and picked up the Baron, but he would have been there to be a frontline guy with the Nexus turrets, maybe be able to stave off some of the impending attacks for his carries who were still alive, which was that Samira. Decisions like this really are echoed at the end of games and can sway games completely, and that's what we saw in Game 2, Bonfire.
Yeah, how important do you think it was that this second game was won by Cilantro Crabs? You know, momentum is a real thing. It's a real factor in these games. Losing that game after being ahead has to hurt.
It certainly does hurt, but hopefully they have short-term memories because we're getting right into ban phase here for Game 3. We're already getting into it.
Yep. It's going to be a different ban for the first two. We saw Graves and yeah, we saw Graves and Nocturne as the first two. Now we're seeing Shen and, critically, like you mentioned, Ornn getting banned out.
Mystic Wave had a shaky game on jungle, switches to top. He was certainly one of the big players on Ornn last game, saved them on a lot of fights, got a lot of good picks in the side lane. We all see the Galio ban come out. They really don't want to deal with those knockups. Knockup City will not happen again, Bonfire.
Yeah, and Cilantro Crabs critically grabs the Leona from the hands of My Friend Told Me To. My Friend Told Me To obviously had Leona the last two games, went 1-1 on her, but looked strong in both of those games, was able to lock down the carries in both of the games, even though the second one was a loss. Leona is going to go towards the side of CC. HC going back to the Udyr. The Flash Udyr stun was such a prevalent part of Game 1 for them.
Yeah, Coach Graves had a bit of a shaky game on J4, had some interesting decisions made there, got picked out a couple times, lands back on the Udyr. He's comfortable on the Udyr. We saw him dominate a lot of the levels of the game in Game 1. And the Lulu pick. Lulu, interesting response to Leona, can obviously shield a ton and help out protecting the AD carry. Also, could be sneaky with the ultimate to knock up players. We'll see. I want to see what AD carry they pick with that Lulu as Kaisa gets locked in on the other side there. Leona and Kaisa are a deadly combo post 6, Bonfire.
Yeah, Yomi, after such an incredible game on Kaisa, we talked about the 18-kill performance that he had in the prior game. He's going back to the Kaisa, back towards what he knows, and he was the factor that won them the game last game. Looking towards the Olaf, looks like CC going away from their scaling roots. They're looking to win, and they're looking to win early.
Olaf is certainly the match to Udyr at, I'm going to run at your team harder than you can run at mine. I'm going to turn on that Ragnarok, and you can literally not stop me. My team can maybe shut you down a bit. So we're definitely going to be interesting to watch to see how Olaf and Udyr play fights, because both of them are going to be wanting to run at the other opposing team's entire team, but we'll see how they play the fights as Sion gets locked in for HCC. They've got a frontline rumbling up here on the side of HCC. I'm very, very curious to see this AD carry pick. It is looking towards a sort of protect comp for Honda Civic crew.
Yeah, and if you're joining from the rating party from Phoenix Rising TV, welcome. We've got ourselves a fantastic series. This is Game 3 between Cilantro Crabs, who are 2-2 on the season, and Honda Civic crew. We are in the draft stage. Leo, what are you thinking about the Malphite being banned out?
The Malphite is kind of a smart move from HCC. I think they're starting to recognize that CC wants to go at them hard. Malphite obviously is known for a spectacular ability to knock everybody up and start a fight off with a boom. Also, Kaisa can ult into a fight off of that Malphite play, so it's a smart ban from there. Orianna on the other side for CC. I'm assuming that is a comfort pick for scripting. I don't think scripting's going to break out the Nunu. Is Volibear also a great ban from the side of HCC? Another champion that can just jump into the likes of the entire team. Now we get to the picks. I'm very curious to see what AD carry we go with here. I'm expecting an AD carry like maybe an Aphelios. We might see an Aphelios, Lulu, Protection Comp. Kog'Maw was the other one I was going to say. We are going full late game protection for HCC. You're going to get your big tanky front line, your Lulu protecting your Kog'Maw, and now for the side of CC, it's all about getting that Voidling.
Yeah, and Kog'Maw can become such a late game menace with his artillery fire. Sion also going towards that. CC looks like they're abandoning their late game decisions, going with some better early game picks, although if they do decide they do. So Cho'Gath going to be their late game carry. He's going to get really big to rival Sion, both of them. Just going to be two beefy boys trading blows.
We're going to have another island fight up in top lane. Those two just going to be farming and trading blows. I do want to mention, though, because Kog'Maw can be flexed. I wanted to mention that Kog'Maw mid AP has been playing a lot. Scripting does already shown a sort of bias towards those sort of off-meta picks. He could be going Kog'Maw mid with the Rising Play. The Victor back in for Milk Tea. They are going to be scaling. This is a pretty big late game comp. Cho'Gath can be an early game champion, but if he gets stacks going, my God, is he literally huge on the map, but he can be huge in team fights as well. So that will certainly be interesting to watch. I'm very curious. This last pick can decide it. Is we going to see an AD carry? Are we going to see an Aphelios, one of those scaling AD carries? Or is Kog'Maw going to be going bot lane? They're taking their sweet time picking it. What will we get?
Yep, critically, Ezreal still on the board. A lot of picks still on the board.
Sivir.
Is going to be the Sivir. So it's going to be Kog'Maw mid, like you mentioned. An AP Kog'Maw at that, I would assume. I was going to mention AP Kog'Maw. Do you think he's good in the current meta with all of the buffs that he's got?
I certainly have seen it with my own eyes, Bonfire. If he gets some items late game, those artillery
shots. I'm going to have to stop you. Actually, I'm going to have to stop you right there. It's actually not Sivir. It's going to be an Anivia. That was a misclick from one of the players. It's going to be an Anivia mid and a Kog'Maw bot. With that knowledge, do you think we're going to run into the assumption that it is going to be a Kog'Maw ADC with the AD, correct?
Yes, that is definitely going to be Kog'Maw bot, unless you're going rapid fire Lulu, which I have not seen in competitive play before, but I've certainly seen it before. Kog'Maw, regardless, AD or AP, scales incredibly well. So the Anivia also on the other side, because we want to talk about the Anivia. Anivia also one of those champions that absolutely scales incredibly well. So the comp structure we're looking at here, HCC has a more sort of easily to figure out comp. You've got your protect, your carries, and your Lulu. You got a big front line, a big Sion, a big Udyr. Protect this Anivia and Kog'Maw, buff them up with shields. On the other side, CC, certainly interesting. As a whole, I would say it's a late game comp. It's sort of a dive comp, but then you also have Cho'Gath and Victor. I'm a little confused by that. We'll have to see how those play off. Maybe those are just more comfort picks.
Yeah, I think Cho'Gath can definitely be big in team fights. I don't know how he goes with everyone else. I was going to mention Cilantro Crabs, looking like it's a lot more comfort rather than team flexibility. Meanwhile, inside of Honda Civic Crabs, that team fighting is going to be nuts with Sion and Udyr frontlining, Kog'Maw, artillery fire, and Anivia just creating those walls. The displacement is going to be unreal. I'm a big fan of Honda Civic Crew's draft, looking to stay undefeated.
I am a big fan of Honda Civic's picks, but a lot of these picks we have not seen them play on yet, which is a factor. Bringing in a champion cold that you haven't played yet in Game 3 can do some decision making. The only champion we've seen on Honda Civic Crew so far is Coach Graves' Udyr, which has been good, but everything outside of that we have not seen yet from this squad. On the other side of CC, we do have some comfort picks. Milk Tea did not place very well on the Victor, but he does seem to have a comfort on it, getting locked down. He does have the damage, his late game scaling, and then Yomi. I talked about how important his ultimates were last game defensively. This game, I expect him to follow his Leona, follow his Olaf, and try to blow up that Anivia and Kog'Maw. So it'll be very interesting to watch how that plays. Those are going to be either fireworks or blunders. It's really going to come down to that play.
Yeah, and you talked about Mystic Wave moving towards the top lane, having such an impact on the Ornn, so much that it was the first ban from Honda Civic Crew. Assuming that he's going to do so well, do you think Cho'Gath can make such an important a part of a team comp that it can be game-changing?
I certainly think so. If a Cho'Gath can get rolling early, obviously his ultimate can have some serious execute value, but if he can get those stacks going and he's big, a lot of people don't focus on his knockups in fights, especially with this comp on the side of CC. They're going to be watching that Leona, they're going to be watching that Olaf. You're not going to see that knockup come over top. You might miss the silence that could shut down some of the peeling ability of these other champions, your Sion, your Lulu. Cho'Gath could play a big role, and Mystic Wave has obviously shown in Game 2 that he can play these tanks to an incredible level. Maybe he could do it again here with the Cho'Gath.
Yeah, the Cho'Gath is gonna, or excuse, I'm all over the place with my words. Excuse me. The Cho'Gath looking to become an incredibly important part of this Cilantro Crabs lineup. I'm looking towards the Victor on Cilantro Crabs. Wasn't as successful as Victors tend to be. Had some important moments in the late game, but I think KDA wise wasn't really where he wanted it to be. Do you think the Victor has to be so, much more fed late game to make a difference, or do you think that the Victor was a problem just where he was last game?
I think the Victor does have to have a lot of impact. He's the real only AP damager this time around on his team, and he may get opportunities with the Udyr and the Scion building more armor heavy due to the Kai'Sa and the Olaf. He's going to have to be able to DPS down this front line while the rest of his team jumps on the back line. I think he might end up being in a similar situation where he might have to be the scapegoat and the distraction for their front line. We'll see how he plays, though. He should have a more tame lane this time around. He won't be getting picked off so much as he did the last game due to scripting's no-no.
Yeah, and you talked about the front line on HCC with the Scion and the Udyr and the Lulu, giving them tons of shields, making them even bigger. Do you think that CC can get through that? Because in my eyes, it's going to be incredibly difficult for Olaf, who doesn't put forth, consistent damage, Cho'Gath, who doesn't put up consistent damage. It's just Kai'Sa and Victor are the consistent damage. So I'm a little worried if I'm on the side of CC to be able to get through those, big beefy boys.
I think that's a great point, Bonfire. You certainly have to wait and see. For the CC side, you have to either get the Olaf rolling early, which he's capable of as an early jungler, or the Cho'Gath rolling so that they bring some of that attention. And I'm really going to be watching Yustariel on this Leona again. If he can get onto the back line, any of that CC Bonfire, Kai'Sa can follow up completely. Obviously, once you get an 80 carry in the back line, we are talking about 80 carries in 2021, which means they can be deleted. So he'll have to play around that invis and the positioning really well to see how that fight goes. But CC, to win, they got to get after this team early. They got to get on top of that Kog'Maw Lulu bot lane early. And I better see some Serpent's Fangs on the side of Cilantro Crabs, or I might just lose it.
Yeah, you don't want to make Slayer lose it. He's not a happy man.
No, you do not.
He's not a fun man to deal with. That's a threat, CC. No, I'm just kidding. Obviously, the Leona and the Kai'Sa have a lot of lane dominance. Just quickly, who do you think will win the bot lane? And do you think it matters late game who gets big? Because both of them do have that scaling element.
I think that it matters more for the mid game. The late game, it might start tapering off, but we've seen the Leona, how powerful it can be in lane. I think Leona and Kai'Sa are going to at least come out with a farm advantage. I expect Olaf to play a lot more towards middle lane this game round. He's going to try to shut down this Anivia and get the Victor going early. So I think the bot lane goes well. The top lane should be a stalemate going off. I did say it would be a stalemate last game, and Mystic proved me wrong. If the junglers start pathing top, we could see some fireworks. But if the junglers play towards their other lanes, that's just going to be a farm off. So it'll be interesting to watch the top lanes regardless, though, if the junglers make their way round.
Well, do not leave now. This is a crucial game 3 coming right up. You know what my favorite number is? It's 3. We are here in Game 3. It didn't land as well as I wanted to. We're here in Game 3 between Cilantro, Krabs, and Honda Civic Crew. Absolute barn burner of a series so far. We've seen leads go back and forth, no new. And would it be either of these teams if they didn't group of 5 at level 1?
And they're both pathing towards the same side here. We're going to watch Cilantro Krabs. Oh, spotted out by the Scion. All right, so HCC does know what's going on. A lot of good intel there. And they're going to react accordingly. We're going to see the bot lane from Honda Civic move over into the red side jungle. CC just sticking to their guns here.
Yeah, Cilantro Krabs trying to find themselves an early kill, maybe forcing someone to a bad early back, but HCC just not playing that game. All they're going to get from it is a ward. That being said, very crucial wards that should spot out whether or not they're going for the top buff and when they are going for the top buff.
Yeah, looks like Olaf and Cho'Gath are going to stick around. They are going to attempt to take the red away, but I will say Honda Civics did get deep wards not only on the red buff from the bot lane, but they also have a ward on the blue buff. We'll be able to track Murdervox very well through his jungle.
Yeah, Murdervox is not going to have a super fun way of doing things. That being said, Murdervox doesn't even want to go for his own buffs. He wants to go for their buff. He's looking for an HDC buff. You can see the question mark pings already going towards the top side.
Yep, so Scion dropped a ward. Not the most conventional spot, but did drop a ward and watch the red buff at least leave. Maybe not spotted the Olaf, but he saw the red buff move. So they do know Murdervox still over the red. For Coach Graves moving quickly to the red side, sorry, the blue side red to take it. He will also be spotted up on a ward left there. So some good ward placement early. He's gotten a lot of early intel as we have a couple skirmishes break out in the mid. Nothing too serious though.
It seems like both of these teams, it's a who's going to go first. If you look at the Olaf on the map, he's taking the Raptors. I'm curious if Coach Graves is going to know that he's taking the Raptors and go for his Raptors as well. As we don't have time to talk, there's the flash engage from Mysterio. This is the E. Kaisa gets another stun, and
one more.
Go down. He does die. Yomi might be pushed up too far.
Flash.
Coach Graves going in, flash stun. Can he find the stun? Yomi just trying to disengage. Coach Graves gets taken down way too quickly. Not enough damage there on the side, and it's a quick double kill for the Kaisa.
Man, this CC bot lane has been the MVP so far. Great plays on the Leona. There were a couple good flashes. King Taeho did dodge out the Kaisa W, but that last auto didn't matter. I like the flashback from Kaisa to stall time on the Udyr. The missed chain from Leona did not matter. The stun came on, and Kaisa's passive, once you get that 5th auto in, it is some serious damage, even early game. Hail and Blaze, obviously an early game rune for the Kaisa as well, and my god, Yomi's rolling early. It certainly helps, even if you like the HCC comp more, Bonfire. Getting Kaisa rolling early could spell trouble.
Yeah, Mysterio and Yomi certainly were the difference maker in the second game, helping CC stay in this game. Mystic Wade taking a tower shot there. He doesn't have a lot of mana, has to be careful. Does have his Olaf in the river. He knows that Coach Graves is going to path top.
A lot of if you're not a Cho'Gath player, this is a newsflash to you. Sorry, excuse you for that. But he can burn through mana very easily, very quickly. That's why a lot of Cho'Gath players usually like to opt sometimes for the corrupting pod. This Cho'Gath Mystic Wave opt for the Doran's Ring, a little bit of squishier choice, and it's starting to pay off with his mana costs. Scion probably will be able to push the waves out a decent amount due to the low mana on the side of this Cho'Gath.
Yeah. Mystic Wave still has teleport, finding himself with a little bit of a CS advantage early game, pushing in the waves really quickly. Neither team really wanting to pull the trigger, and this is quite different from the first game, or the second game, excuse me, where we saw just fighting all around the map. Right now, both teams look a little bit more nervous, a little bit more worried what that might mean if they pull the trigger and it goes wrong. It's just going to be a quick 1,500 gold difference on the bot lane dive.
Good stun by scripting, but Milk Bubble Tea a lot more confident in this lane, shoving in the Anivia and winning the health battle. These trades, another good laser. It's very hard to dodge that laser from Victor. It's hard to see it coming. Another good stun though. Couple good trades. Getting low health bars here. I'm interested to see if either one of the junglers move over. Anivia obviously has the egg passive, so she can play a lot more aggressive in this lane. Victor needs to be careful though, especially pushed up that far. He's going to recall.
Also, Malik's getting traded a little bit. Still, he is playing as Scion, so he does feel comfortable just walking in and out of it. But he's low enough that Mystic Wave should just freeze the lane as he's doing now. Coach Graves coming up to help. Uses the flash early. Gets out of it. That doesn't turn into a knock-up, and he's able to just walk away with his life.
Smart flash from Mystic there, but a flash nonetheless. Good job by Coach Graves to get some early pressure. He's going to stick around, try the old "you thought I left" trick. Let's see if it works out. A little bit of speed boost from the E. Will he get the stun off? He does, but Sion and the wave are too far away. He's going to try and trade it. Takes a tower shot. It's going to be nothing, though, here.
Yeah, well, it will be something, and that's if you look across the entire side of the map.
Oh!
Scripting might have to flash. He does, and the early flash from the Bubble Tea. There's the flash from Murdervox. Murdervox trying to get down the egg quick enough. I don't know if he's going to be able to, but what is the health of Scripting going to be at? Not enough as soon as he get out of the egg. Fantastic flash from Murdervox, knowing his damage, knowing his early game prowess as the Olaf.
Yep, that's exactly what you want to do as an Olaf. Smart flashes all around there. Mystic's so close to getting out there. Olaf did miss the axe there. I was curious if he's going to be able to get the stun off, but the auto came through. So we've got some early movement. This is the first time we've really seen CC get rolling early. I'm going to be very interested to see how they transition this game into the mid game and further in the early game.
Yeah, both teams looking to hopefully win themselves the game. I will say it's a 2,000 gold difference on the side of CC early, but this is what they wanted. They wanted that early game. It's not the panic button. If you're HCC yet, you've got a great scaling comp. You just have to make sure that you don't get too far behind. 2,000 at 6.5 minutes, though, certainly don't feel good. There's the flash on my cereal. Looking for someone, finds my friend told me to. My friend told me to. Exhausted, stunned up, has to use his flash to get out. My cereal has to be careful. Artillery fire, not up for King T-Hole yet. And both of them are able to escape with their life, utilizing both of their summoner spells. Stick away,
Yep.
take... Oh,
Go ahead.
I didn't want to step on your toes. You go.
No worries. I was just going to highlight how CC, we have not seen them play an early game yet. I'm liking the aggression, but you're going to have to watch out because comp-wise, I still like the accountability, how sound we have on the side of HCC comp-wise.
Yeah, Mystic Wave has done this a couple times. I don't know if you've noticed. He's silenced Awesome Alex as soon as he's about to land his big knock-up. And it's really screwed over Awesome Alex. He wants to land that knock-up. He wants to displace him, get his good trades going. And he hasn't been able to, and it's translated into a 15 CS difference.
Yeah, Mystic Wave showed some of that flashiness on the Ornn with some very tactical knockups, was able to cancel out the set E on Ornn last time. And now we're seeing his ability on this champion Cho'Gath, like you said, to shut down the Sion.
Yeah. And this is 3 kills in 8 minutes. This is, are we watching 2 different teams, Leo?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a stark difference from last time. I really don't know what's going on.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, both teams are playing safe. They're playing smart. CC, Coach Graves might have missed them taking the Rift Herald. He does finally see it, but it is way too late at this point. Mystic Wave just able to zone him off of it. Big
Coach Graves
blunder
should
there.
be fine to get out, though, with his speed. But there you go, Mystic Wave making an impact for the top lane again, using his CS advantage and the pressure he had to get Shelly on the side of Cilantro Crabs. We'll see how Olaf uses that going forward.
Yeah, Cilantro Crabs, I will say, even though Milk Bubble Tea has been able to get the kill on scripting, well, not the kill, but, set up the kill on top of scripting, look onto that CS difference. In every single lane, there's a bit of a CS difference spot. It's going to go 20 CS towards Yomi. Obviously, those 2 kills means it's incredibly difficult for the Dogma to walk up on him. Milk Tea looking for something. Murdervox right there. Can he land the stun? He finds the stun. Certainly that's going to be a kill. Murdervox has to use Ragnarok, but he is able to kill Scripting. And Scripting, this is not the game we saw from him in Game 1 and 2.
This is also a completely different Milk Bubble Tea. I'm shocked. He's doing some very tactical W's on Victor. Just got that stun off. You really don't get that kill on Anivia unless you land that stun so that the Olaf could Ragnarok. Interesting to see, are they going to drop Shelly here for the plates?
Would assume so. Murdervox just hammering away. Coach Graves trying to clear waves. There comes Shelly. Milk Bubble Tea has to stay close to make sure he can pick up the local gold. Has to be careful as well, though. Doesn't know where a lot of members of HCC as Murdervox possibly might be going for a tower dive onto HCC's bot lane.
Murdervox did grab that 320 gold from that Shelly. Very good to know, but we have some pinks coming out. It seems the junglers are spotted over. The pressure from the bot lane does allow them to come over.
Coach Graves gets stunned. He's just going to be
Kaisa
locked
ult.
up forever. There's Kaisa. There's Murdervox. It was the Leona ult that was able to land on top of him to keep him stunned up forever. And that's another kill. 5 kills for the way of CC. They are rolling HCC in this early game.
Bonfire, if you would have told me this is the type of game we'd be 10 minutes into a game 3 after that game 1, I would tell you were crazy. And we're here. I can't believe it. Gotta look at the itemization really quickly from Kaisa. We see some trading in the top lane. Kaisa already has that Noon Quiver and that pickaxe and is already sitting on some gold thanks to that assist. Should be able to get what I assume will be a Gale Force in this. Actually, we could see, it might not be a Gale Force. The itemization wise, it could either be a Gale Force into the Kaisa. Regardless, a lot of gold is gonna have a lot of damage coming into this mid game.
And the dragon, the second dragon, oops. Pause that point. Coach Graves, great flash by Mystic Wave, and here comes the teleport. They have to be careful of the read.
Here's the turn.
Milk Bubble T looking to find the stun, getting minion block. Coach Graves just walking around a lot. There's the slow. The damage from Victor is just so much. Excuse me, why Cyril going in on King Teal? King Teal certainly gonna fall. Why Cyril isn't gonna be traded. And he's able to get away from the Kog'Maw. There's nothing topside, but they get something bot side just by the two of them. A bot lane killed just the two of them onto HCC.
Yeah, that top lane play. Coach Graves, interesting that he sat in the bush and tried to stall. I think they thought they could jump back on the Victor, but that Victor damage and the ability to kite for himself with the CC. Oh, there's some trading in the mid lane. Almost a perfect wall there from scripting, but the Victor just squeezes right through and is safe. And nothing really happens. But on the top side, interesting trades, great reaction from CC regardless.
Yeah, Cilantro Crabs look like an entirely different team. They've just played so aggressively, and Honda Civic crew looking for their first kill. Scripting has to flash to get away from the Olaf. Gets a lot of damage down. Has to be careful though, standing in there for too long. Milk Bubble Tea able to flash away. Ragnarok used by Murdervox. Murdervox has to use Ragnarok to get away. Cannot. And that is going to be just biting off more than they can chew. I still has to be careful.
Key thing a lot of people don't remember about Ragnarok is obviously you can't take CC, you run a bit faster on that Olaf, but you also take more damage, and that proved pivotal on getting that shut down the red buff burn for Coach Graves. There's HCC's first kill on the board. It doesn't go to their most important champion. I wouldn't say Coach Graves should be getting the gold funnel, but it is 600 gold in his pocket regardless.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Coach Graves isn't going to mind that gold either. They needed that first kill, and it's certainly a morale booster. If you're getting, zeroed out the entire game, it looks really bad. You feel really bad about it. Morale could be in the dumps. Getting that first kill, starting to stabilize yourself. Remember, this is the team that in the first game we just saw them roll CC. So I'm curious how they can do. Icerio looks for a Hex Flash, isn't able to find it.
Yeah, they did roll in that first game, but like I said in Champ Select, a lot of champions we haven't seen them play yet, maybe be cold on in this pivotal game 3, and it's starting to prove out that that's exactly what was going on. And I hate to say, but it may lead to them losing this series. We'll have to watch for that, though.
Yeah. If you're just tuning in now, if you're unaware of the standings, HCC this split Honda Civic crew have found themselves at a 4-0 record, good for first, tied for first in their division. As well, and Cilantro Crabs 2-2 need this win. It's a pivotal win going into the playoffs.
100% a pivotal win. To be up 3-2 would be amazing. As we see some fights in mid-lane,
Milk Bubble Team might be caught out, trying to trade it onto scripting. Is the field going to be enough? No, it is not. And Milk Bubble Tea caught out again.
The death ray does not do its job there, and Nivea will survive. Coach Graves starting to funnel some gold here, picks up another kill here, and I believe that was also a shutdown, correct, Bonfire? Was that a...
I don't believe it was a shutdown.
No, shutdown. Still gold regardless on the side of HCC. Somehow gonna have to play through this Udyr, it seems, as we've got more shoving into the bot lane. Coach Graves here to support, see if something happens.
CC has to be careful. There's the teleport from HCC. It's the first to go. There's the Ragnarok. Scripting might be pushed up too far. Gets stunned, gets knocked down.
Egg.
Coach Graves going in on Yomi, but it's not enough damage, and he falls too. King Teal has to be careful at this point. I don't know if they have the damage. He gets taken down. Yomi is so big. Murdervox utilizing that early game potential, and that is going to be a 3-1 for CC.
Yeah, and on the back end of that, Mystic Wave canceled out the teleport from that Scion, knocking him up. could have been pivotal again. Another example we saw last game, Bonfire. Mystic Wave canceled a set teleport that would ultimately lead to a swing fight for CC. Once again on this Cho'Gath, he finds a way to cancel another teleport from us and Alex, and they win the fight 3-1, like you just said.
Yeah, and that's going to be a massive win for CC. It looked bad at first,
tower
but they
gold
were
too.
able. This is very true. They were able to get away in the initial fight, and Yomi was able to get far enough away to continue that damage. When you have a 4-0-3 Kai'Sa, and she can keep fighting you, keep doing damage to you, that's not a fight you're going to win very often.
Not at all, as we see a couple just trading back and forth top lane. Like I said, this would literally just be farm off. We've literally got zeros across the board from the top laners, but that CC advantage for Cho'Gath. What's going on?
Flash, stun, scripting, dead. You can put it in the history books. It's happened twice. I think this might even be the third time, and this Anivia is not having a fun game. 0-4 after such strong performances on Nunu in game 1 and 2.
You can see why that might have happened, though, Bonfire. I mean, it's safe to say, I think we both could agree, Anivia is a lot different of a playstyle champion than Nunu. So that might lead to why he is struggling, as we will see another dragon over here for CC. Now on Soul Point, just 16 minutes into the game. That's what you get with an Olaf jungle. Milk Bubble Tea has an upgraded E already. 0-1-4, certainly rolling as Olaf, hunting for more.
My friend told me to, has to be careful, utilizes the flash early, and that's what this Olaf will do. Will just keep getting you down. My friend told me to, has to ult themselves. That's everything out of the support just from the early pressure from Olaf and Victor. This is just bullying.
Mystic Wave does not care about anything Coach Graves has to do. Goes to clear out the pink ward with him right there and picks up Shelly right where he left him. HCC is starting to come together, though. Looking out, we do have Coach Graves and Scion here, but looks like they're just going to relinquish Shelly back over to the side of Cilantro once again.
Cilantro has found themselves in a 6,000 gold difference in this game. If you had told me that they would have been a 6,000 gold difference after the first two, I would have called you a liar. It seems like this early game comp certainly seems to benefit a lot of their players. I think for most of all, Virtuvox has shown how fantastic he is as a jungler when he's put on something like Olaf. 6-1-1, has the core drinker and the boost. He is a problem.
Yeah, certainly a problem. I definitely want to give Mystic Wave some props where he is. He's currently at 7 stacks. Obviously, on Cho'Gath, you can, if you don't know on Cho'Gath, only 6 of those stacks can come from minions, so he's already up to that maximum on minions, has 7 from some champions. He is obviously very big on your map and very big in this game so far, and he plans on only getting bigger. The way he's playing, I wouldn't be surprised if he does.
Yeah, they haven't been able to stop the scaling of the Cho'Gath, of the Kai'Sa. Victor's still sitting pretty, and that is the biggest issue if you're on the side of HCC. There is nothing coming to save you. You've got nothing coming. You've got a Scion who's going to get tanky, sure, but if you have no damage behind him, because your Anivia is so far behind, I don't even know if the late game scaling goes in the side of HCC. It is looking doom and gloom. How do they win this game?
They really just have to start getting some picks somehow. And actually, no, sorry. They don't need to start getting some picks. They need to turtle. You got to get this Anivia going. You have to let this Kog'Maw scale. As we see scripting, trying to be aggressive. There's that Anivia damage. Forces out the flash from Milk Bubble Tea. Anivia has that legendary Liandry's. Does a lot of damage. Coach Graves going for more.
Flashes, gets the kill on top of Milk Bubble Tea, but King T-Hole's caught in the mid wave, and that's going to be a kill back onto Coach Graves as well. It's disaster. It's a 2-for-1. It looks so good from Coach Graves, and scripting, I don't know what you're doing right here. You cannot fight Virtuvox right there, especially when Mysterio is coming. Can he keep him going?
Good stun.
Damage. Virtuvox taking a lot of damage. Mysterio says, I'll do it myself. And I don't know if he has the egg damage.
Egg is up.
Himself. Virtuvox looking to help. We're going to try to burst him down as soon as he gets back. Just kidding. He's not even going to get back. This Olaf is so far ahead that he does so much quick damage. It looked good, and then it looked bad. But in the end, it was great for CC.
Starro, perfect timing there. That exhaust on the Anivia 100% saved Olaf's life there. And then Olaf thought it was a little risky walking up to that egg that late, but we always forget about the Gore Drinker. Got some health back, was able to pop the Anivia around. Listen, scripting's obviously a player that likes to play aggressively, as we see some aggression from Scion here in the top, just trading back and forth. 2 tanks slapping each other in the face. Nothing big here. Playing aggressive on the Anivia, did end up getting a kill over his team, but cost his life once again. And then in the mid lane, Yomi just absolutely dominating like we've seen him all game. Kaisa so good at getting on top of people and bursting them down so quickly, especially when you're already at 2 items. Went for the Kraken, do the front line from CC. I blanked last time. I apologize. That's the legendary item that I forgot to name there. Kraken is the smarter move, and the Collector there just to blow up people. Yomi is massive.
Coach Graves might be caught out pushing waves. He's just running towards the enemy team's base. Graves, that's the wrong way. You're running the wrong way. Yomi able to pick up a freebie.
Yeah, an absolute freebie here, and interesting Shelly usage from the side of CC there, though. Did they take a tower off of that? I don't think they got anything out of that. It doesn't matter. We're on to Baron.
Yeah, even if they did, look at where scripting is. He has teleport, but he's so far down, they have no idea that they're doing this. Starting to get an inkling of an idea right now. T-Hole looking for
Flash
the possible fight. T-Hole taking a lot of damage, and Yomi does so much damage, able to take him down, able to take down the Baron really quickly. They don't even want to give up a tower for that. They're not going to trade anything. They said trading is for losers, and we're not losers. We'll take Baron and your ADC.
That Kaisa play, Bonfire, that's exactly what you could get when I talked about the Leona chain. Anything she lands, Yomi can immediately jump on that target, and he jumped right over the wall onto that Kog'Maw and deleted him, just like they deleted the Infernal Drake here. They're on Soul Point. 8,000 gold lead. There's really nothing stopping this team from making the upset a reality.
Yeah, that's not Soul Point, by the way. That is Soul. Infernal Soul.
Sorry, yes, Soul, Infernal Soul, you're correct.
Infernal Soul.
Perfect
Lulu
stun.
might be getting locked up. My friend told me to. What did your friend told you to do? To die? Because that's exactly what you did.
Yep, they're just rolling. You strawly saw the play of the Leona from My Friend Told Me To game 1 and said, hold my drink, I will one-up you, sir, in the pivotal game. And gosh, has he been impressive. Didn't talk enough about his Gallia last game. We got around to it towards the end of the game, but boy, oh boy, will I give him the praise he deserves in this Leona game, because like every good AD carry should, keep in mind all of your play outside about 25%, which is your positioning, is all due to your good support. So make sure to pat your supports on the back in solo queue and even in competitive play.
Honor Ystariel. I think honestly, if this game it continues the way it's going, I've got Ystariel as my MVP. He's played so incredibly well. Yomi, obviously, the recipient of a lot of those kills and damage charts, but the setup from Ystariel, time in and time again, he's played so incredibly well as they look to chase down Awesome Alex.
Yes, the support main caster wants to give the MVP to the support champion. Stop me if you've heard that before. A little bit of bias. I certainly would agree with you, though. I will have to shout out Mystic Wave. I'm talking about him a lot. He is 0-0-0 in this game, but he's played his role to perfection on the top side, and he will be a big factor in these team fights if they need him down the line. And obviously, you have Yomi, who his support has been very well, but his positioning, especially in game 2 on that Kaisa, was pivotal to make sure he could DPS accurately.
Yeah, and they're just taking top side. Scripting says, I want to take bot side if you're going to do that. And like you talked about, Mystic Wave just denying that HCC is getting nothing out of anything. They're not able to get anything across the map. They're not trading anything. Scripting's actually losing this 1v1, although Mystic has to be careful. Coach Graves right there. Doesn't seem to bother him that much. Might be worried about the damage.
Dodges out the knockup. Looks like they're throwing blows.
Oh,
good wall.
Zoned off. Can he get on top of anyone? He cannot. It's going to take a long time. That's a lot of damage of a fight, but it won't be enough. And eventually, he does get taken down.
Third trade for HCC, although on the other side, those secondary towers are worth a lot of gold. CC trades that back out. Ult from Leona does miss, so I think they're just going to clear out waves here. I like the play from HCC, though. Mystic has been playing well on Cho'Gath, but opted to go for the Warmog second item to bring health back up instead of a more defensive stat towards maybe you get yourself a Spear Visage, maybe you get yourself some AP protection, went for the Warmogs and paid the price there against the two guys in Scripting and Coach's Graves back there. Great pick by those two.
Yeah, Scripting just backed on a ward, which just means that everybody on CC knows exactly where it is. So
mind games, Bonfire. Mind games.
I guess. I don't know. I'm confused, but whatever, it's okay. These guys probably know a lot more than I do, as Yomi takes the red buff away. I'm only a silver player. Scripting looking to take that Grom. He obviously needs to get back into this game. Look at his CC. He's not doing too bad, but 1 and 5 from the Anivia. Not what you need, as he's kind of your only AP on the team.
He certainly is, and he did complete the Seraph's Embrace, so all that mana spamming with the tier purchase early has paid off. It has been upgraded to a Seraph's, so watch out for this Anivia. If I'm CC, I would not count him out one bit in these fights. You still got to get to that back line, even with such a massive gold lead.
Yeah, he does a lot of damage. Mystic Way has to be careful. He's got 2 people on top of
He's
him.
all alone.
Does have flash. There's the Scion ult to keep him locked up, and the flash from Coach Graves. Can he get out of the knockup from Awesome Alex? No, he cannot. It's going to take a long time. Oh, Coach Graves.
Early bite.
Global T looking to kill Scripting. He's got to be careful. King T-Hole might be there. That King T-Hole, and there's the stun and the damage from Anivia. Knocks him down. That's 2 kills, none traded back from HCC.
CC, we talked about it in game 2, even though they went up there multiple times. They bit off a little more they could chew, and Victor there, Milk Bubble Tea, did certainly just that. Now they have to be on the defensive, get out, but it's hard to run from an Udyr. Exhaust will certainly help you out, though. They get out as supers pour into the base mid lane.
Yeah, luckily you have the Anivia. Anivia does so good against the waves, able to clear them away. No damage to the Nexus turrets as they look to clear away their vision in their jungle. Critically, Elder in a minute, Baron in 30 seconds. So we are going to see some fights. If it's been a bit lowly for you and there hasn't been enough fighting, believe me, we will get there. And we're going to see the Cho'Gath and the Scion in these fights for the first time this game.
Yeah, I actually want to point something out, Bonfire. I was curious when the first time this would happen in our duo casting career here, but I think we've had the first instance of caster jigs here. I talked so well about Mystic Wave, and then he gets caught out twice. Specifically in that second fight, I would have liked to see him turn and try to pop Udyr, but just kept trying to run until it was too late. Now they're going to take their revenge out on Baron, though.
Yeah, that Baron certainly felt how bad it was. Mystic Way just walking forward. He's so tanky. Doesn't take a lot of damage. Yomi, Mysterio has to be careful. Mystic Way finally is going to take it down. Awesome Alex is going to kill Mysterio with his passive. Milk Bubble, Nurture Box going in. Coach Graves stuns him. Coach Graves just doing a ton of damage. Watch out for Anivia, like you talked about scripting. Oh, there's the ultimate. Yomi in the back line. He has to kill 3 of them. My friend told me to. Gonna be the first to fall. Yomi, we're gonna go in. There's a flash. Kills the passive of Anivia. Yomi gets the double kill, and Coach Graves has to run away. It's the only one from HGC still alive.
Wow, that was such an interesting fight to break down because CC made the blunder of all walking into Anivia's ultimate and allowing her to just DPS their front line down from over the wall. It got very dire. They were losing members, but then Yomi hits the clutch W. No sort of hesitation. Ults in, knocks out the Lulu, knocks out the Anivia. I think Yomi just stole my MVP bid off that pure play because CC was starting to throw some of these fights, and now that might have just earned them an Elder.
Yeah,
but they are on a ward, though.
There's a teleport coming in. That's going to be from Awesome Alex. Alex looking to go in with Graves. Mystic Way still there. The carries aren't there from HCC yet. There's the stun. Misses, hits nobody. Mysterio in on them. Oh! There's the damage. So much damage from Yomi. There's the stun onto Awesome Alex. There's the knockup on King T-Hole. Awesome Alex taking a ton of damage. Mysterio says, I'll do it myself. Goes on top of him. Awesome Alex, too tanky to get knocked down. Mysterio might be pushed up too far at this point. Gonna get taken down. It's gonna be a support for a jungler, but critically the jungler down for the Dragon fight.
Elder, though.
Wants to go onto the Elder Dragon. Victor trying to keep him away. There's the ult from Scion. Gets instantly taken down. Didn't realize the health of the Dragon. Awesome Alex is going to fall. Yomi takes a ton of damage. Is going to fall. The shutdown going towards scripting. And I don't know if CC
Victor TP to the base.
Has the damage. There's the TP into the base. HCC has to get back. Murdervox going in. Milk Bubble Tea doesn't have the wave clear, and scripting might fall down, gets killed. Oh, there's the damage. Anivia super fed at this point, 666, the devil's number. My friend told me to. Just barely surviving the Elder Dragon. Coach Graves trying to go in. They have the reinforcements in Keyhole, putting an artillery shot down on Murdervox, but he will walk out with his life. Oh my goodness.
What a fight. So much going on there. You had some serious DPS. The members of HCC, you had Silent and Udyr shut up a little bit too early, got DPS down. But then we talked so much about Eusterial's great play, but he goes too deep on the Leona like we saw. My friend told me to last game. Gives a kill over to the Anivia. Scripting played that fight so well, came back around the other side towards mid of blue buff. On blue side, walls off the Kaisa, gets her trapped in his ultimate and blows her up. Then Victor tries to go for the hero play, realizes he doesn't have Baron empowered minions, he can't take a tower, tries to run back and pop the Anivia with Elder, but another great stun from Scripting. He is back in this game, blowing up these carries, and boy does he have some gold in his pocket.
Yeah, we talked about how Scripting was playing very poorly compared to his first two games. He is back in this game in a big way. And you look at the CC difference. This Victor hasn't been farming at all. Only 147 farm at 30 minutes. That's embarrassing. And that's not good if you're on the side of CC, because that is going to delay how powerful this Victor's going to be late game. Awesome, Alec might be caught out.
Shogat still has Elder.
Careful. But HCC feels comfortable. It's going right into their trap. Awesome Alex gets slowed. And there's Elder.
There's Elder.
Down. Virtuavox is going to kill him. And they're not going to be able to get anything in return.
Yeah, certainly great. I'm really glad you pointed out that CS number, because Milk Bubble Tea still level 15, Scripting level 16. Certainly could impact the fight not having that full powered death ray. But here goes Leona.
There we go. My friend told me to. Looking dangerous. Scripting might be too weak. He gets knocked down. There goes everyone. This might be the end of the game. Mysterio, is he going to get taken down? It's King Tyrell versus the world. He isn't able to find anyone. And in upset fashion, after 3 games, after a first game, which saw them lose in a hilariously bad fashion, they found the comeback in game 2. Woo. They dominated in game 3. And in 31 minutes and 40 seconds, they're able to upset the undefeated HCC to find themselves the win.
One of the Kings has been taken down, and boy, what a play from Strahl at the end of that on the Leona. That we talked so much about how the Anivia was so pivotal in getting HCC back into this game, but he lands the chain on the Anivia. Yomi, no hesitation again, jumps right on top of the Anivia. There was a lot of damage out, but the Elder kills off the Anivia from there. It was just a barn burn. Everybody dies, and my gosh, congratulations to Cilantro Crabs for your upset, dethroning the King.
Yeah, Cilantro Crabs, after such a heartbreaker of a first game, they saw Nunu dominate both of us, obviously. Very surprised about that pick and how well it did. Were able to scrape by a comeback in game 2, and they absolutely dominated in game 3, knocking off the top dogs of Honda Civic Crew. What an unbelievable series.
What an incredible series. We talk about the standings. Well, actually, before we talk about the standings, let's look at some of the stats on this game. I actually accidentally lost my stats. So, Bonfire, you're going to have to let me know some of these damage numbers. I want to know, what did the Anivia end up damage-wise, and who was the top damage dealer for the winners in the side of Cilantro?
Yeah, looking at the Anivia doing almost 30,000 damage. Yomi really close to the 30,000 damage mark as well. Critically, you have to look at how much damage the Olaf did as well. Obviously, very good early game. He was able to stunt the scaling of the Anivia. And even though Scripting was able to do so much damage in the late game, it felt like it was just too little, too late, and it was just too much of a comeback to overcome.
Wow, what a series to kick off. What a series to sort of in the middle of this league. Cilantro Crabs, we talked about sitting at 2-2, needed to get the second half rolling, and that's certainly one way to get rolling, taking down an undefeated team in this fashion. It's technically, I guess in a best of 3, that's technically a reverse sweep. Isn't that technically? That's technically a reverse sweep. So
technically, I guess.
Technically is a reverse sweep. I mean, it's a weird regardless, but they pick up the win. I got to quickly go to you, Bonfire. We got to throw out MVPs here. Are you still feeling the MVP for your boy and support Yustral, or what about my 80 carry over there, Yomi? I'm curious what you're thinking.
I think that honestly, everyone on CC in the last two games pulled their weight. We talked about Mystic Wave playing so incredibly well. I didn't know. I don't think we talked enough about Milk Bubble Tea. He got really abused in the but in both games in the mid lane. Had a lot of pressure towards him, but he was able to scale up in both games, do a lot of damage. With all of that being said, I think it has to be at the end of the day Yomi with the amount of kills, how he dragged his team from the brink of defeat. Some of those ultimates just unbelievably smart, able to get on top of people when you didn't think he'd be able to get on top of them. Mine goes to Yomi. Astrario played super well. He shouldn't be disappointed by his performance at all, but Yomi played so incredibly well.
Ah, the AD carry at heart is singing praise for your pick. What a great MVP pick. I would have to agree with you, Yomi. Outstanding Kaisa play. Kaisa, one of those champions, one of those AD carries that has some very high variance, like I talked about. You have to position well. You need to know when to go invisible, try to draw the attention off you, ult to the right places. And Yobi, what a master class. I very much enjoyed your sort of backing up ultimates, appealing ultimates for yourself in game 2 and game 3. You had no hesitation, jumped right on top of the carries for Honda Civic crew. All I have to say is bravo, Cilantro Crabs, and what a game in the Open Unstoppable Week 5.
Yeah, what an incredible game indeed. If you are new to Risen Esports, you should follow us at all of our channels. Risen Esports NA on Twitter, Risen_Esports on Twitch. Make sure to follow. You do not want to miss these incredible matches. Well, for me, Bonfire alongside Slayer, that was a fantastic best of 3. Thank you for tuning in. You folks have a wonderful night.